47, 22, 6, 25. Thanks for playing the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
For a couple of big games as well. So let's get started on some of the biggest things that are happening. I've got a couple of live shots that I want to show you all. So you're taking a live look right next to me to, it's normally Lincoln Financial, but today and for the next couple of weeks, it is Philadelphia Stadium. So that is going to be where we have our games played on starting June 14th. Cote d'Ivoire, which is Ivory Coast, will be playing Ecuador. That is Group E. Again, that game is going to take place Sunday at Philadelphia Stadium. Down below me, you see the White House. We've got a couple of big headlines to bring you as it pertains to President Donald Trump. One of the things that I was just listening to right before I came out here, I heard him talking a little bit more about these attacks, these strikes on Iran, why he decided that now was the time to move, and what he's saying about not being done anytime soon. And then also taking a live look at New York City, because again, we are in game 4. San Antonio Spurs are taking on the New York Knicks, and I know you guys aren't feeling the Knicks right now. I understand, but they are our closest neighbors, so I'm hoping like we've got a New York northern like kind of thing going on here, and maybe we can still cheer them on. So we're hoping for a big win tonight. Obviously Monday night, if you guys were watching the game, wasn't great, but we tried our best. We were really close, and it was really interesting to see how the audience reacted to President Donald Trump being in the building. You also may know that normally there are parties and watch parties and a big screen right outside Madison Square Garden, where a lot of New Yorkers, just people, run-of-the-mill people on the street, come out to watch. They could not do that because the president was in the area, but it sounds like tonight is going to be their night to get out there, so that game starts at 8:30. But Phillies are also playing, but they're all the way out in Toronto, so we'll be checking in on how they do. That game, I believe, will get started around 7:07, so we'll be checking on that score with our sports team as well. Now, I have to let you know that here in the city of Philadelphia, we know we are under a heat emergency. The health department actually issued a heat health emergency. It starts Thursday, 11 a.m., and it'll run through Friday, 8 p.m. So keep that in mind. It is hot. Keep your water on deck. We don't want anybody passing out. Also make sure that, if you can use your AC, please use it. Like, this is the time. You don't want to be playing around. So let's get into FIFA. We are going FIFA crazy over here. I hear tomorrow all the big stuff kicks off, even at Lemon Hill. I want to get right out to one of our reporters if she's ready for us. Okay, looks like she's not. We'll chat about it ourselves. As you may know, Lemon Hill Fest, that is going to be a big thing for any of you Fan Fest people who want to get out and have a good time. I'm hearing that they, of course, will be having their big stuff. Also, does anybody remember, like, Despacito? Luis Fonsi is headlining tomorrow. It's supposed to kick off everything. So again, if you were able to register, the tickets were free, but if you were able to register, you will be enjoying that free concert. It's supposed to be a really great time. A lot to eat, a lot to do, a lot to see. I am jealous. I will be here bringing you guys some of the live things that are happening. Now, this is a live interactive news conversation. So when I'm talking about some of the biggest headlines, if you've got a question for myself, for a reporter, for meteorologist, I want you to hit our live stream chat. I am reading them in real time. I can get to you, maybe even give you a shout out if that's something that you would like to. This is a newscast where we are talking about the news, but it's non-traditional. We do things a little more chill here. So it's pretty cool how you guys can get interactive and involved in this. Kind of like you're influencing what I talk about here on the news. We are on TikTok, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. Trying to see if anybody has commented just yet. A lot of people are still coming on into the chat. You guys, welcome on in. This is Philadelphia Live, and I'm your host, Judea Murray. Again, a lot of big stuff to chat with you all about. So another big thing as it pertains to FIFA World Cup, I don't know if you guys were keeping up to date with all of the different changes that they had going out, but FIFA officials originally, actually went back and forth about this, whether or not you could bring a water bottle to the stadium. like if you wanted to make sure you were staying hydrated, because yeah, we're going through a heat wave. I just told you it is extremely hot here and will become extremely hot here in the next couple of days, in the next week for sure. So a lot of people were worried about how they were going to stay hydrated in the stadiums. Now, originally FIFA said you cannot bring a bottle into the stadium. You've got to buy one. You got to go to the concession stand. What you trying to pay them prices? I'm just being honest. But they said that that's what you're going to have to do. And then I guess there was a lot of pushback, so they changed that. And now you can have a water bottle, not a refillable one per se. I guess technically you could fill it up, but it's got to be like a soft malleable bottle, a disposable one. So actually, I wouldn't even be able to bring this one in because I've already opened it and taken a sip. They want a factory sealed water bottle. Again, it's got to be a disposable one that you can bring into the stadium and again keep yourself hydrated. So that's what's going on there as it pertains to the FIFA World Cup. We'll have some reporters bringing you guys some live interactive stories. I know one person is going to show us some of the cool things that we can do to get ready for FIFA World Cup. And I also know that another reporter is showing us where you can get some merch. So I don't know if you're interested in this at all, but you know, getting all decked out and picking out your gear and all that kind of stuff. Apparently there are a lot of different places that have things available for you. So we're not just talking about soda bottles or chips that happen to have the World Cup logo or whatever, maybe the trophy on them. We're also talking about actual gear. We're talking about jackets, shirts, all that good stuff. I heard CVS even had some options for you. So, I mean, I don't know. You guys shop at CVS? Apparently they also had some options as well. So again, we'll be touching base with a couple of our reporters who can give us some more insight into, you know, what's really out there, what's available to you. Now, with that being said, another big story that I've been keeping my eyes on, it's not local to here, but just something that I've been interested in. Maybe you've heard the name Carmelo Anthony, but we're not talking about the basketball player. We're talking about was 17-year-old, now 19-year-old from Texas, who apparently stabbed and killed another student at a track meet. So again, it's happened when he was 17. This was sometime back in 2025 in April. They're saying at a Frisco high school track meet, these two teens were on the field. So as you can imagine, if you've ever been to a track meet, there are tents. And they say that Carmelo Anthony entered another person's tent. It looks like, sorry, we were having a quick glitch right there. But they say Carmelo Anthony entered the tent of another school and multiple people inside told him to leave. That's what he says. That's also what his defense attorneys say. And he says that they say that he wouldn't leave for whatever reason. He actually sat down on the bleachers, and one person who confronted him was Austin Metcalf, a 17-year-old. We've actually got their pictures here so you can visualize who we're talking about here. So on the left, you've got Carmelo Anthony. On the right, you've got Austin Metcalf. At the time, both 17 years old, both the same age, both went to high school, both run track. Now, again, they say that he wouldn't leave the tent for whatever reason. Austin then confronts him. Apparently, he says, and I quote, touch me and see what happens, or something like that. And then Carmelo, they say Austin then either pushes or shoves Carmelo. Carmelo reaches in his backpack, pulls out a knife, and stabs him. Unfortunately, he does not make it. He has died. So he almost immediately admits to what has happened here. I heard from court records and whatnot, police have also testified in this case. They say that they called him a potential suspect, and he corrected the record immediately and said, no, I'm who you're looking for. So he hasn't denied that he did this. But the big question here was why? Was it self-defense? Was it just cold-blooded murder? Was it manslaughter? So the difference between murder and manslaughter there is the intent. They're saying if you murder somebody, I intended to cause harm to you, I intended to hurt you, I intended to kill you, versus manslaughter, which is I was acting recklessly, and because of my actions, now someone has died. Well, they convicted him of murder, 35 years in prison. I believe he'll only have to serve up to half of it before he's considered for parole or probation. But still 35 years at 19 years old, that is a lot of time lost. But then you have to think about the victim's family and how they're coming to terms with this. Austin Metcalf had a twin brother who is not going to see his other half face to face ever again. I heard that Carmelo actually is appealing that conviction, hoping to either get a lighter sentence or maybe even overturn it altogether. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I can say if it was the court of public opinion, a lot of people felt very strongly about this case. Even a year ago, it was like a huge debate on social media. Maybe you guys even saw something about it. You probably at least have heard something about this Texas high school track meet stabbing. So big thing that's going on there. Again, we're keeping up to date on not just Texas, but everything that's happening closer to home. I'm seeing that we've got our sports team on standby. So Marcus Beasley, I know the Phillies are playing tonight, 7:07, so about a couple of minutes ago, that game should have gotten started. You know, can you walk me through what might be at stake here?
Rubber match between the Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Phillies won the first game. The Blue Jays won the second game. Jhoan Duran actually blew his first save of the season yesterday, so a little momentum is kind of going towards the Blue Jays. But I would say that it's going to be a good matchup. It's between two great pitchers tonight, Jesus Luzardo for the Phillies, Max Scherzer for the Blue Jays. This was 5 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. I'd say this is probably like an automatic win for Scherzer, but Scherzer has been looking terrible this year. He's actually back for the first time in a while. Jesus Luzardo, he is actually 3-0 with a 1.54 ERA. On the road, so it looks like it should be more towards the Phillies' favor, but that's pretty much what's at stake. It's just a rubber match just for bragging rights, and then after this, the Phillies, they'll start a 3-game road trip against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Another big thing that we're keeping up to date with, I saw that the Eagles, they were talking to the media. You know, they're at practice, and I heard that this is going to be the last time they address us, or at least we see them until preseason. Is that right?
Until training camp, mid to late July. But yes, I was actually at Eagles this morning, which I was listening to Nick Sirianni talking about how he's pretty optimistic about how the offense is looking, but he's definitely, he's always been like a one step at a time, 1% better every day kind of guy. So obviously the offense isn't perfect, the defense isn't perfect, but they are leaning towards the direction that he wants them to, trending in the right ways in terms of their fundamentals and everything. So he's pretty optimistic about that. He also addressed Jalen Carter because, as to what you were saying before, today and yesterday were the only 2 days of their mandatory minicamp in which players had to report during the summertime, and Jalen Carter was not participating in team activities. And part of that is due to resting his shoulder, but also the main story is he is dealing with contract negotiations as well. So that has also been a big storyline for the Birds quietly. I mean, obviously the A.J. Brown took over everything last week. This week as well, the Eagles are trying to stay under the radar, but unfortunately the Jalen Carter storylines are making their way up as well. So yes, the Eagles had 2 days of mandatory minicamp. They are now off for about, I'd say, 6 weeks, which is just perfect timing regarding the World Cup. But yes, training camp will start in mid to late July, and then their first preseason game will actually be mid-August, August 15th to be exact, when they take on the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, cool stuff. You mentioned, them talking. You heard from Sirianni. We'll actually be able to play that for our audience a little later on in the live stream, just so you guys are up to date with everything that was happening. And I'm also glad that you were able to break it down for us, because I was wondering too why we weren't seeing him, and I heard the chatter in the newsroom, but as you know, sports is definitely not my strong suit, so I wanted to ask the pros.
You know what, you've done well so far. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you've actually been trying very hard. No, all right, calm down now. I'm just saying, like, you're getting better. You're getting better. I'm just saying. You should not put yourself down, but let's not, I mean, if we want to switch, if you want to start working on sports,
no,
I'm all for it. Okay, I'm just saying, just calm it down.
You know your strengths and you play to them. Oh my gosh. It's been fun chatting with you, Marcus. I'll see you again, or maybe another member of our sports team, just to keep us up to date on everything that's happening with the Phillies and the Eagles. All right, you guys, remember, we are literally all FIFA'd out. I'm going to be bringing you some live reports. We've got a reporter who's checking out the merch situation. So if you're trying to get all decked out, maybe you want just a couple of souvenirs, she'll be able to tell you the best places to go for those. And we also have a reporter who's touching base with us on, all the preparation that's going underway. I heard New Jersey Transit is going through some big changes, and also, addressing maybe some beef that they have with Amtrak, what that's all about. We'll talk to you about it in a second. But also SEPTA. SEPTA is going through some changes too. Most of them are trying to make the stations a lot nicer. If you've ridden one of the trains or buses here, not all of them are too pretty. Not all of the buses and train cars have been treated the same, but they say that they're doing their best to make sure our guests have a spectacular, stellar experience while they're out here embracing our city. So again, we'll be touching base with both of those reporters and seeing what's there to do when it comes to FIFA World Cup. Things starting tomorrow when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Jade Murray. You're taking a live look out at what's normally Lincoln Financial, but right now is Philadelphia Stadium, and it will be that way for the next couple of weeks. We've got FIFA World Cup fever over here at Fox 29 Philadelphia, getting ready for all things World Cup. So I just want to get you guys ready, and we'll touch base with one of our reporters, Shawnette Wilson, bringing us an idea of where we can go if we want to get some merch and maybe hang out. Shawnette, where are we finding you at right now?
Well, I was going to back into that. Right now we are live at Chickies and Pete's. We're live at Chickies and Pete's because where else do you go if you want to get fans of a variety of different sports, right? So we're here, and you can see that, they're already decorated for the start of the World Cup here. They had someone come in and deck the place out and everything FIFA World Cup 2026, you can see here. Just over here, there's also a picture of the FIFA World Cup trophy. So they are all ready and expecting crowds, of course, to start coming tomorrow as the official World Cup matches start tomorrow. We've got some time locally, but we know things start here tomorrow. But before coming here, yesterday we were talking about merch, right? There's no shortage of places to go to get merch if you want to be out and be wearing, team spirit. We were talking in our editorial meeting today just about how there are so many random places that have gotten in on this. We were at CVS, there was a whole section of merchandise there. We even stopped at Five Below, and they had stuff there. But we're showing you video from Rally House in Cherry Hill. That's where we were earlier today. Come on through, honey. They were actually getting pictures. They were actually showing us around how they have sweatshirts and hats, anything you can think of, socks, keychains, merch everywhere in Rally House. So I'd actually talked to one of the workers there, and he was telling me that people have already started to come in to look for things that they can wear when they're going to be out watching the game. He said even if they don't have it, they will order it for people. But he said, yes, so far people have been coming out, and they expect to get even a larger number of people coming out, as things get underway starting tomorrow. So we went out to look and see what we could find merchandise-wise, but we also wanted to talk to some people just about the excitement surrounding the World Cup. So voila, that's why we ended up here at Chickies and Pete's. So we're gonna swing around this way. I met Iverson today. How are you?
I'm good, how are you? I'm good.
Iverson and crew, super excited about the World Cup. How are you feeling as things officially kick off tomorrow?
I'm very excited. It's the first World Cup in America for me, being born, so I'm really excited. It's my first experience being near the atmosphere, and right now it's been pretty good, so I'm excited, yeah.
So you said that you play soccer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a real big interest in this.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Me and a lot of my friends from Maryland, because I'm from Maryland, just hanging out with my people, But yeah, we're very excited for it. It's, overwhelming. Like, words can't even explain how excited we are, so yeah.
Do you have any matches that you specifically want to see, or are you just going to take in as much as you can?
I'm excited to see, Ghana. That's my parents' homeland, so, very excited to see them, go Black Stars, So very excited to see Ghana, yeah.
Now, we were doing a story today just about like how everywhere you go in the city, like you can find merch like almost anywhere. Like you don't have to go to like a big name sports store, like CVS has stuff, like Wawa has stuff, like Five Below had stuff. Have you been seeing merch anywhere yet?
I have. A lot of corner stores have like good jerseys, good things online, and I see a lot of good things online as well. Almost anywhere you can find a jersey, really, so yeah.
If you were to get something, what would you get?
I already have a Ghana jersey, and I want to get the new USA kit with the flag on it. It looks really nice, so I want to get that one, yeah. Hopefully I can.
All right, well, thank you so much for talking to us. We appreciate it.
Black Stars, yeah. Go Black Stars.
All right, there you go. So he is super excited about the World Cup starting. So Judea, that's like, it's here. Like we've been talking about this for so long, I feel like now, and I think that people are really just starting to get really excited because it's here. It's like the build-up was the build-up, and now we're looking it right in the eye,
Yeah, Shauna, and the other thing too, I keep hearing, I was hearing, I should say, a lot of people who are like, who cares about FIFA, who cares about soccer, it's not that cool of a sport, da-da-da-da, not realizing that in literally every other part of the world, like soccer is their king.
Yeah.
So even if we weren't going to the games, those games will be packed out.
And someone actually at this table was just saying that, how like, it hasn't really caught on here the way it has in other places. But like any other sport today, like I kind of feel like once it gets underway, and especially as we talk about the 6 matches taking place here in Philly, I think it's going to catch on to people who are not even soccer fans, just the hype of it all. And it's just an experience that, many people have wanted for so long to have games hosted here. So I think that even if you're not a fan, I feel like people aren't going to be able to resist the energy that it's bringing. So I'm just going to walk you over here really quick. Just to show you the setup they have over here. You see the USA sign all lit up. So there's a vibe. Like I said, soccer fan or not, I think that once it gets fully in motion, it's gonna catch on.
Oh, you see the baby with his jersey. I love it. He's a
I know,
star.
but it's not soccer. Why are you over there?
No. Don't be a hater.
We tried to talk to a bunch of people. Well, I am, because I'm working and I need help for my story. And when people don't give it to me, I give it back to them.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you for giving us an idea of, what kind of stuff we can get and where we can go to get it. I've heard of Chickies and Pete's. Actually, I went to a concert, I think last weekend, and I had some of their food. So now I'm, getting acclimated with all the hot stuff.
Yes. I will say this before you go, Judea, too, like, because people will always ask, like, the price and the cost of things. Like, when we were at Rally House, like, the price range that I saw was, like, I would say, like, from, like, $30 and up. I mean, obviously if you're just getting like a keychain with like the FIFA logo on it, it's not going to cost that. But in terms of like clothing, I think it would probably start like maybe close to $30.
Okay, that's fair. 30 actually isn't that bad considering what you could be paying for jerseys like in the official stores. So that's decent.
Yeah,
that's decent.
And I mean, listen, I'm happy with the T-shirt. A lot of the T-shirts were super cute. I didn't grab one today, but I will be back because we're in this.
We are in this. Shawnette, thank you so much for giving us this report. As she mentioned, a lot of people are probably going to be getting out, even if they're not huge soccer fans. I know Fan Fest, a lot of people who have reserved tickets don't care a thing or two about soccer, but they do care about those performances, all the freebies, and of course the social experience. So in addition to what you can get and where to get it, I also want to bring you what else is going on. How are we preparing? Because tomorrow really is it, and then this weekend is our first match. And bringing us that part of the story is Alex George.
Hey, okay, so yes, we are once again talking all things FIFA. You knew it was coming. So what we are talking about is the preparation around where that Fan Fest is. Now, because that officially starts tomorrow, they were actually doing a preview tonight, and we ran into some folks who had just come from the preview, and they were loving it. But of course, when you have a big festival, a big event here in Philadelphia, there are other consequences like road closures and a little bit of traffic. So we were catching up with folks tonight and kind of asking them, are you happy about this? What do you think about this? And we'll be briefing you on all things Fan Fest, what roads to avoid, where to go, how long it's going to be going on. And pretty much everyone in that Fairmount Brewery Town area that we talked to, they were genuinely excited. They acknowledged that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get around, but overall, the excitement really is there.
Got you. Thank you for giving us this report. I'm not sure if you can hear me, so we're going to bring back here in studio. See in our comment section, somebody says it's football, not soccer. So let me go ahead and apologize. Yes, you're correct. Here in America, we call it soccer. Oh, we'll try it. I was also hearing myself. Hey, Alex, okay, it looks like we might be on the same page. So let me ask you this, while you were getting out there, did you get to see how, I guess, Lemon Hill is coming along? Like, are they completely ready for tomorrow?
Like what the Fan Fest sort of looks like. We weren't able to get inside Fan Fest. They did have a sort of media deadline that they wanted everybody out, and we were focusing a lot on what's going on around it, i.e. road closures, traffic, etc. But since we did get to talk to some people who just experienced it, I mean, it's full-fledged. They are ready to go. The people said they had a lot of fun. There were lots of neat experiences. They described a corner. I believe they call it like an installation, if you will. It's called Kick It Like Beckham. And you get to play some games, and they had a little bit of free stuff. So they are definitely ready to go for tomorrow.
Free stuff. That's what I like to hear. Again, Alex, thank you for giving us this report. We're going to keep you guys updated on all things FIFA. She talked about the traffic piece. I want to make sure that I'm bringing you how to get there. New Jersey's got some games at MetLife Stadium. We've got some games at, well, I call it MetLife Stadium. It's going to be New York, New Jersey Stadium. But we've got some games, too, at Philadelphia Stadium. And it's really important that you know, in some cases, you are not going to be able to drive. You're not even going to be able to walk. So how you'll get to those games, we'll touch base on that in just a second. And keep in mind, we are also soon to be under this heat health emergency. So I'll be talking with our meteorologist, Scott Williams, about what he's hearing about that and what the week ahead looks like. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. We were just talking all things Philly. Somebody in our comment section on TikTok says they do plan on going to some of the events, maybe even a match or two. So everybody's been keeping their eye on the weather. I just told you that we have this heat health emergency that we're under, according to some of our leaders. I also heard that 52 Philadelphia schools plan to close tomorrow early. So if you have a kid that goes to a Philadelphia school, you're going to have to try to figure out how pickup is going to happen, or make sure that somebody's going to be home for them. Again, a lot of our schools don't have AC, so when those temperatures do rise, it gets really hard to pay attention, to be healthy in the school system. So while we're hearing that that's going to be the case for 52 of our schools, I'm wondering just how hot is it going to be? So we're going to turn to our resident meteorologist, Scott Williams. Scott, walk us through this.
Yeah, I mean, Judea, we're talking about the danger zone Thursday and Friday with feels like temperatures getting into the low triple digits. We also have record heat likely Thursday into Friday as well. And then add into the mix scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some of those could turn strong to severe, not only Thursday afternoon, but again Friday afternoon and evening. Now, for the upcoming weekend, all eyes, of course, will be on the FIFA forecast for Sunday. It's still going to be hot, and there also could be a shower or a pop-up storm in the forecast for Sunday. We're going to get into all of the details, but right now let's talk about the scattered showers and thunderstorms moving through currently across the area. Non-severe at the moment. There could be an isolated severe storm before this thing exits the coast by 10 o'clock this evening, but we've been watching those rumbles of thunder moving through the area, scattered downpours, of course, and you can see still looking at the activity through Ben Salem, moving toward Trenton right now, into sections of Burlington County, in particular along Route 130. You've seen some downpours around Cinnaminson, Delran, Moorestown, moving toward places like Pemberton right now. That's where we're looking at some of the heavier showers. Also pushing into Camden County, Gloucester County right now, down the AC Expressway, looking pretty wet. But once again, nothing is severe. Route 130 seeing the downpours, 322. White Horse Pike, Black Horse Pike, 206 getting wet through Chemung toward Tabernacle right now through Burlington County. Down the shore, it's been fairly quiet, but we are watching showers and thunderstorms approach from the west, in particular moving through Cape May County. So be on the lookout down the shore, places like Cape May, Wildwood, Avalon. We're going to be watching this activity looming right around the Delaware Bay as it approaches from the west. We've had downpours through sections of Delaware here on this Wednesday evening. That heavy rainfall now pushing into places like Seaford, Georgetown. That is in Sussex County, Delaware right now. So we'll time everything out. A few gusty storms this evening. The trend is for them to weaken over the next several hours, losing that sunset around 8:30, so that will diminish some of the coverage and intensity of those storms. But that's what we're watching for tonight. For Thursday, for Friday, we are looking at temperatures that will be climbing into the mid to upper 90s, so record territory both days, and then we will be looking at the threat for some thunderstorms. So take a look at the overall setup. Disturbance moving through here on this Wednesday. That's what we're watching right now, but the actual main cold front that we'll be keeping tabs on for the rest of the week, that's still well off to the west. That will put us in the warm sector for Thursday, for Friday. Heat, humidity, you add some daytime heating, thunderstorms will be bubbling up each afternoon. Here's a look at the forecast for Thursday. The record is 96. The record is 95. The forecast is 95. Friday's record is 95. The forecast is 97. So the heat will be peaking for Friday, but those feels like temperatures will be in the triple digits. And look at this. Thursday and Friday, we have on a scale of 1 to 5, it's a level 2 risk for scattered severe thunderstorms to pop up across the area, and some of those could produce some damaging wind gusts as well as some hail. Temperatures feeling like the triple digits. This is Thursday and Friday. Philadelphia, the I-95 corridor, north and west suburbs, all the way up to the Lehigh Valley, even feeling like the triple digits. Reading, Berks County, interior parts of South Jersey, sections of Delaware as well. So you've got to remember to stay hydrated loose-fitting light colored clothing, check on pets, check on elderly, and just make sure everyone's staying safe. So we have not only FIFA taking a center stage over the next several days, it's going to really be the weather. So we're looking at gusty storms each afternoon over the next couple of days at least, dangerous heat and record territory with those high temperatures. So let's take a look at the forecast for Sunday at the Philadelphia Stadium. High temperatures on Sunday, still around 90 degrees. By kickoff, 89. And temperatures will be falling into the mid to low 80s during the game. Winds will be out of the south and west. And there's about a 30% chance that we could have a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm during the day, even into the afternoon and early evening time frame on Sunday. So that is certainly something we're going to be fine-tuning over the next several days. But it does look like that it's going to still be hot on Sunday, but not quite as humid as what we're going to get Thursday and Friday with those heat advisories. So the heat advisories are in effect Thursday and Friday. Right now we don't have heat advisories in effect for the weekend, but still looking at high temperatures both Saturday and Sunday. Today are right around 90 degrees. So that's why, of course, folks need to stay hydrated. I know you were talking about the water bottles earlier. So that is certainly something that will be key. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate as we deal with our third heat wave of the season.
And it's just so crazy to me how they're back to back to back. Like you get a little bit of relief for a couple of days and then you get right back into it.
It's the pattern that we're in, and we've already been looking ahead to Father's Day weekend. It looks like we could be trending 3 consecutive days, 90 degrees or better for that time frame as well. So it's like it's been the end of the week into the weekend. Then we get a little bit of a break early in the week, then the heat builds, end of the week into the weekend. That's the pattern that we're kind of stuck on. We talked about June coming in hot and staying hot, and that's kind of what's going to be happening.
Summer said, I am here. And it is important for us to keep that Father's Day weekend in mind, because I know a lot of people like to go out, cook out, barbecue, whatever you may call it, and you're going to need to know what the weather is going to be doing because you need to stay healthy. Scott, thank you for giving us our forecast. We'll check back in with him a little later on, you guys. You guys are being silly in the comment section, but I love it. A lot of people still talking about FIFA. While that's going to be happening in our area, out in Washington, D.C., our lawmakers, like the Democrats and Republicans, are actually hosting a congressional baseball game. Like it's literally happening as we speak. You're taking a live look. As you can see, they've got their Team USA gear on. You've got some people in blue, Democrats. You've got some people in red, the Republicans, and they are playing some hard-hitting baseball. They've done this since 1909, and they say they do it for charity, so they're raising money as they're out there. But again, some of your favorite congressmen and women are on the field and having a good old time out there in Washington, D.C. So that's what's going on in that part of the U.S. Let's keep the ball rolling. As we were just talking to our Scott Williams about the weather, I know all across the country it's also getting increasingly hot. We'll be touching base with Oliviana Calmes from Fox News to see how things are cooking in her neck of the woods. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. We were just talking to our meteorologist about how hot it's going to get in the city of Philadelphia, and I hear it's not just happening for us. That seems to be a trend across the Northeast. More than 100 million people across our region are gearing up for what we're talking and hearing is going to be this crazy combination of heat and humidity. It could actually even become dangerous. We're talking about triple digits that are expected in some of our major cities as soon as Friday. So I want to get right out to Olivia Calmy. She's live for us in St. Louis, where Dangerous Heat is providing a preview of what's ahead for the forecast. Oliviana, what are you seeing?
Judea, we're getting a little bit of the taste of the heat that you guys are going to get on Friday. It's about 10 to 15 degrees hotter here than it usually is at this time of year. It's in the mid 90s right now. So I talked to some people who still decided to make it out to the park today about how they're beating the heat.
Trying to stay hydrated, blot the face, the whole, have my sweat rag with me.
We got a nice breeze, and you put a little water in your hat, put it on, and as it evaporates, it cools you down.
You know what? I just embrace it because I think about like in winter when it's going to be so miserable around here. I just always am like, okay, this is all we get. So even if it's 100, I'm still going to try and get out.
Well, the good news for St. Louis, relief is on the way. A little bit more comfortable mid-80s. We'll get those on Friday, and it'll stay here through the weekend. But farther east, the heat is just getting started. Forecasters are expecting highs to push into the upper 90s in cities like D.C., Philly, and Richmond on Friday. That's 10 to 15 degrees above average for you guys, too, right now. And while some of those cities you have seen hotter temperatures overall this year and sometimes, but forecasters say it's the combination right now of that humidity along with the heat that's making this stretch really uncomfortable. And adding into the humidity, it could feel like 100 to 104 degrees in some of the region's largest city. You're looking at Washington, it could feel like 104 degrees. And Philly and Richmond also expecting to see triple-digit heat index values. So I know you guys likely have a plan for cooling shelters and things like that. Heat advisories have already started popping up along the Northeast for that. People here, you know, I'm taking some of the tips from the folks I interviewed. I like that hat trick. You put water in your hat and it keeps your head cool. I like that.
Some of us who can't get our hair wet are looking at that tip like, I don't know about that one. But definitely keep water in your bottle and carry a water bottle around with you. It would be a great one for me. Did you hear anything else besides the hat trick?
And also, I'm also due for another spray of sunscreen as well. I also think just being aware that this is going to be something a little bit abnormal than what we're seeing already this year, because here in St. Louis we don't expect that feels like to be in the high 90s for this time of year. So pay attention, you know, make sure you've got your car, has gas so you can blast that AC if you need to a little bit longer than you might usually too.
You know, one thing that I'm thinking about, because this weekend for us, that kicks off FIFA World Cup for us, a lot of foreigners are going to be in our area. So while it's hot and like crazily hot for us, we're trying to figure out how to handle it. I'm wondering how some people from other countries, will they feel right at home? Is it going to be a little different because our environment is different? Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll be in Kansas City this coming week for the World Cup kicking off as well. And I will say we'll probably have lots of visitors from Argentina over there. And I will say they're going to be used to some of this heat. So they're going to be used to that. But it's different nonetheless. So I hope that they're also checking the forecast before coming here with all of those other preps I'm sure they're doing for booking hotels and things like that.
Yeah, in our area, we were just talking to one of our reporters about how hotels here are actually surprisingly cheaper than you would think. So a lot of people still have an opportunity to get out here and enjoy the games, or matches, I should say. Oliviana, thank you so much for bringing us what's happening out in St. Louis and also a bigger picture of what's happening all across the Northeast. Of course, that affects us as we got to see in some of the maps that you provided. 103 degrees in Philadelphia. That was what it would feel like, you guys, according to that map. Is that not crazy? One of our TikTok streamers in the chat said that it was time to cook chicken in the trunk. Now, I'm weak. What are you talking about? Your chicken is going to be a little spoiled. But I love the jokes. You guys keep asking questions in the comment section. I'm able to bring them out to reporters if it has to do with the topic, but also sometimes we can just have shout outs that we can do here on the live stream. All right, you guys, still ahead. Want to talk to you about some of the trending stories. What's Philly talking about? We'll be checking in with Jake Leonard for that. But also, I got to pose a pretty big question for you all. And it's not just hypothetical. I mean, it really could be happening for us Pennsylvanians. We'll get into how we might be putting some money in our pockets soon when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. About Jake Leonard up to the desk with me. That can only mean one thing. We're talking about what you guys are talking about. We got a question for you all.
Yes.
So right before the break, I told the people that we'll be
Give a
talking about
little
how to
tease.
put some money in their pockets pretty soon. It could be happening. So first questions first.
Okay.
$250 fell out of the sky. What would you do with it?
I think I would treat my friends to a night out.
Oh, you're a
Yes.
good friend.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how far 250 could get me with my friends, but you know, maybe I'd be like, oh,
They got
let's,
expensive taste.
you know, let's do a nice dinner or get some drinks, or I don't know, like I just make like a fun night out of it.
Okay, I love it. I love it. That is
What
so
about you?
nice. Whew. Shopping spree, probably.
Okay, love
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
love it.
I probably should put it away, but
Yeah, that's not fun.
no, it's not at all. But the reason I posed that specific amount, $250,
Okay.
is because there is a representative from Pennsylvania who wants to give that to each and every single Pennsylvania family.
Oh,
And he
okay.
says it's to celebrate America's 250th
Okay.
birthday. So usually when it's somebody else's birthday,
Right.
you don't get a gift, but he wants to give everybody else a gift now.
I can get behind that.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Representative Eric Devonza that we're talking about. He represents Westmoreland. And again,
Okay.
he says for the 4th of July, he thinks that Pennsylvania could afford to give its citizens, constituents, $250. He says we can do that because there's some surplus that's left over from the 2025-2026 tax year.
Okay.
And so he needs other people to sign off on it
Okay.
first, but he has proposed it. And I'm just wondering, it's called, by the way, $250 for America's 250th. First of all, would y'all be interested in something like that? And if you did, or if you were and you got the money, what would you do with it?
Huh. Okay. So yeah, we want to know what you, the people,
Yeah.
think. So we ran a poll to get you guys involved. You can find it fox29.com/go-vote.
Mhm.
And so we asked, what would you do with $250 from the government? So save it, 40%. Spend it, 49%. So
Gotta live a little.
we're kind of in the majority, it
Mhm.
looks like. and other 11%. So I posted it on all our socials, you know, Facebook, X, Instagram, for people to weigh in and kind of share their thoughts. So if I could read a couple comments.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so Chris says, fix my Jeep.
Okay.
Bill says, pay bills.
Bill with the
Pat,
bills.
yeah, Pat says, food. Gina says, that's a grocery trip. Someone said, buy some gas. Someone says, pass out if we actually get it. So we have some non-believers, but yeah, people are saying, a lot of people are being practical, like Pico, things like that. So
pay them bills.
Yeah.
Desiree on TikTok also said, pay these crazy bills.
Yes.
Prices are always going up. Someone said I would open a PO box for a year. Well, you know, I guess.
Right.
But some of the suggestions that people gave, they are fitting for what he wants this to go for. Again, it's for July 4th. He's saying that the cost of groceries is too high. A lot of people can't afford to have a good time. So he just, you know, wants to put a little extra money in the pocket. So it's a possibility. Whether or not it can happen, we'll wait and see.
Stay tuned.
We'll wait and see. Okay, so in addition to that, what are the people talking about? What's trending?
So I look, you know, on our website, the top stories, and this one stood out to me because I hadn't heard about this at all, and I found it was really interesting.
Okay.
So
what is it?
obviously summer's coming up, you know, there's going to be a lot of travel, a lot of, you know, like beach vacations, whatever. So one of the most popular summer destinations, Nantucket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And so I didn't know this, but apparently Nantucket is not known for, but kind of has a reputation for a lot of people getting Lyme's disease.
No, I didn't know that either.
I thought that was super interesting. So there was like, I was reading up about it, and it said apparently 15% of the people that live there either are exposed to like a tick that could potentially be carrying Lyme's, or they get Lyme. So the risk is, it's not super high, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, with it's such a big tourist spot, you know, it provides, it's a pretty big risk for people visiting. So they're floating around the idea of trying something out. So they're working with researchers and scientists from MIT, and they're putting this program, I want to get this name right, Mice Against Ticks. Okay.
Does mice stand for something?
No, that's why I had to like double check.
Mice.
Yes. So okay, so apparently, again, like I didn't know this, and actually I do have Lyme's disease, so I probably should know this.
Wait, what?
Yes. Okay. So you get it from a tick.
Yeah.
So like when I was like younger, I got bit by like a tick.
Okay.
So it's like one of those things. It's like it goes away, but like never fully goes away.
It's always going to be in your system.
Yes.
It just might not be present.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's, you know, that's why they're so, you know, they want to try to figure this out, because it's not like there's an easy fix. But so the ticks, they get Lyme's disease a lot of the times from feeding on mice, a specific type of like white mouse. I forget the exact breed, but so what these scientists want to do is they want to start breeding mice to kind of develop, you know, an antibody for the Lyme's. Yes. Okay. So then when the ticks feed on these mice, you know, they're not picking up
whatever the
you know,
issue that causes Lyme disease, and they won't be able to pass it on.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's very interesting, but even more interesting is that the people on Nantucket actually have mixed feelings about this.
Okay, why?
A lot of people are like, you know, okay, this is great, getting rid of Lyme's, but some other people are kind of worried that if they do that, then it would kind of throw off the ecosystem, and they don't want to see the beautiful wildlife, anything happen to, you know, like throw it off.
Okay.
So
they're saying, I guess we don't mind the little Lymes if everybody else and everything else can still coexist. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting story.
Yeah. The only thing that I knew about ticks was it is very difficult. You got to be really particular about how you get it out of you.
Yes.
Because you can't just pull it.
No.
Like it'll leave the little, is it the stinger or something in you? And that's
like
the difficult
tweezers,
part. Yeah. I also heard burning it or like match or something
like
that.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
I know, it's very, very interesting.
Okay, well, we'll see if they do get the go-ahead for the mice, and then how that actually pans out. So I'm thinking that might be something that takes some time.
Yeah, it obviously wouldn't be something that happens really quick. It would kind of be over a period of time.
Okay.
So
It would be for the next generation,
yeah.
maybe. Well, interesting stuff
Yeah,
there.
I guess we'll see.
You got to look at what Philly and what everybody else is talking about, some of our trending topics. We'll be touching base with you a little later on to see what else is going on.
Thank you.
And I want to know, again, we're going to keep asking you guys our question of the night. What would you do with that $250 if you could actually get it? So, again, that's still coming up. Now, I know a lot of you guys are interested in a couple of other big things, like specifically here in the city of Philadelphia, there's that huge uproar about what's happening with our city budget. And more importantly, how is that going to affect our schools? Well, there was a press conference held earlier today with the mayor and a couple of other city leaders, and they made some detailed changes to the budget. And I think you're going to be interested in hearing what's being done. So Dawn Timoney is going to give us that report in just a little while. Don't go anywhere. I'm Judea Murray. You're watching Philadelphia Live. We got a lot more news headlines to get you on out to. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. I mentioned that there was some big change happening to the budget plan as we know it. The mayor, a couple of other city leaders here in the city of Philadelphia actually held a press conference a little earlier on to announce that to the public. Now, Dawn Timoney was paying attention to it. I'm hoping that she can help us make some sense of it because there were a couple of terms that were used and whatnot that I might not have understood. Maybe our audience didn't either. But Dawn, what are some of the bigger changes happening?
Well, as you said, it is complicated. The city of Philadelphia, the school district in the city of Philadelphia, is facing a $300 million structural deficit. So it's faced with trying to find money to keep going, and 340 jobs were on the line. So City Council had dedicated $50 million to help with that deficit. But the problem was it was a one-time contribution, and the worry was it really wasn't going to make that big of a difference. So the announcement today by the mayor, city council president Kenyatta Johnson, Dr. Tony Watlington was there, as well as the school board president, Reginald Streeter. They basically were saying that they have all come together to find a recurring source of funding. And so they tell us that $216 million will be allocated to the school district of Philadelphia over the next 5 years. It's part of the city's 5-year budget plan. So we had the first $50 million. Now we have this additional money. Of course, the question is, where is this money coming from? So we're told that the money will come mostly from the city's capital budget. Now, the hope is that the city can find a predictable, recurring local source of funding that it can then use to kind of put back into the capital fund, because if they don't find that other funding, then there may have to be cuts in other programs to the city. So it's kind of complicated, but City Council and the mayor have committed and, said publicly today that they have this money to save these positions. And we're talking teachers, we're talking counselors, 149 teaching positions are saved, 23 counselors, and then 119 climate staff members. And basically, those are people who patrol the hallways and the bathrooms and greet students when they come in the door. They're not staff or not teachers, but they're support staff, and they really can make or break a student's day. We were talking to one member of the school district staff saying he didn't know the history teacher's name, but he knew the climate staff member that you see every day when you walk in the door with your child. So they're calling it Christmas in June, and tomorrow is the last day of school for the Philadelphia School District. But this is big news because 340 jobs were on the line, and the bottom line from today is those jobs are going to be saved. The mayor's saying that they're still working on where that other source of revenue will come from. Nothing is off the table, but they're committed to making sure that the district does get its money first. And then they're working on a plan to find ways to kind of replenish that capital fund where they're taking the money. If that makes sense.
It does. Actually, you broke it down really, really well. Again, when they were talking, throwing out some acronyms and whatnot, and I was just like, okay, this is a lot. Just lay it down for me. How many jobs are we saving? And you did that perfectly. Okay, so I know that a couple of our reporters, you may have been one of them, I know Jen Lee was one of them, have been listening into these meetings, these hearings, as they happen, where we're hearing from families, a lot of the kids who have been just so emotional about and passionate about making sure their schools, their favorite teachers would still be available to them after the summer. So I'm sure, I would love to hear what those people say now that they're hearing that we got some money, we somehow found some money. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are going to be a lot of families breathing a sigh of relief that their child's teacher is still going to be there next year and the year after and the year after, and the counselors and the support staff members, like I said, that can make or break a child's day. People don't realize, I think, sometimes just how important their role is, and how much support they lend to students. But this is obviously good news, and also obviously for these 340 jobs that were on the chopping block. I'm sure those people were worried that they might not have a job after next year. So this ensures that they'll have a job for the next 5 years as the school district and the mayor and the city council work together to try to give Philadelphia public school students a high quality of education. And the mayor even was saying, Judea, like, they might not have agreed on the how to get there, but they agreed on the why. Why? Because we want to make sure our students get a good education. And I was I think a little over a week ago, City Council gave preliminary approval to the mayor's budget, but they nixed 3 of her proposed taxes that were part of the budget. And one was a $1 tax on Uber rides, that the money would then go to the Philadelphia School District, and City Council voted that down, but yet they've all come together now to find a way to make everything happen. And the mayor also said today the one big thing that was never on the table as they try to close this $300 million budget deficit was raising property taxes for residents of the city of Philadelphia. She made that very clear. So the city, is working together to try to do the best it can with this $300 million budget deficit.
Yeah, it's nice to hear what's happening. I'm happy that you're able to get us this report. And I was going to bring up too those other taxes, or where she thought she could do some tax cuts from, because, not for nothing, I understand and kind of commend the mayor where it's probably a fire put under her to try to figure something out which she thought she already had. So then to come with this and be good for the people, it was a hard job to do, but she got it done.
Yeah, and I think as we were there were all kinds of team members for city council, budget directors and financial people, and the mayor's financial people. So a lot of people coming together to try to find a solution. And this is not a done deal. There is still a lot of work to be done in terms of trying to find other sources of revenue so that capital budget, so that doesn't take some nicks if they can't find other funding sources. So lots of work to be done, but it seems as though everybody is really committed to working together, to finding common ground, and all to the benefit of Philadelphia school students.
Got you. This might be a silly question, but I realized I didn't ask you when you first mentioned it. What would the capital budget normally go toward?
I don't know how much the capital budget is. I'm sure it's a lot. I just know that they plan to take $216 million out of Philadelphia's capital budget over the next 5 years. So I don't know the answer to that.
It's a fair one. Again, it's just something that only just now popped up for me. Dawn, thank you so much for breaking this down, making it more easy to digest. If we have time at the end of the live stream, you guys, we'll try to listen in to what they discussed out there. It was a pretty long news conference. Again, Dawn, thank you. All right, a lot of big news to get through as well here in the state of Pennsylvania. Maybe you heard about that Penn State student who was shot and killed just super close to home. I actually got to talk to his aunt on TikTok, who just so happened to see one of the videos that I made about the situation. But family, very much so, still coming to grips with what happened. He's only 22 years old. His name is Billy Schmidt. He was out, I think it was 1:30 in the morning on Durford Street. And according to police, because there is surveillance video of this incident, by the way, but according to the police, they say that he was trying to walk home when he was approached by just two people. And one of them was dressed in all black. And you can see in some of the surveillance video provided by neighbors that this individual may have taken something from him, because if Billy could be heard saying, "Hey, just give me my phone back," or something like that. Soon after that, all of a sudden, the person who's running away at first turns around, opens fire, and kills Billy. And unfortunately, on this surveillance video, you actually see him get hit and fall and lie there in the street until someone was able to come and help. It is a very gruesome video. Normally when we were showing it on the broadcast, it stops right before he's actually shot, but it is horrifying, and I wouldn't recommend anybody try to look for the full version. But there's new video that's being put out there that seems to show better images of these particular suspects. And it's not just the guy in black, but apparently there were two people involved. So the Philly Police Department is actually giving this video out. Is there any way we can play it for the people? Yeah, you see it there. You'll see the people walk down the street together. It's these two guys, one dressed in black, one seems to be in a white or a gray hoodie. Suspect 1, suspect 2, that's how they have labeled it. So you see them walking down around 20th Street from Rittner Street to Jackson Street. And then at some point in time, they make contact with Billy Schmidt, the victim. This is in the area of 20th and Durford. Now, after the shooting, they say that the suspects ran away on foot. They were last seen in the area of 22nd and Porter Streets after they took off the hoodies. So you see the hoodies on them right now. It looks like their faces are covered. But pretty soon you're going to see a video where it seems that they've gotten rid of those hoodies and they're just walking down the street in t-shirts. Well, the city of Philadelphia is offering a reward of $20,000 for anyone who has information here on what happened, who these two individuals may be. Of course, Billy Schmidt's family is hoping and praying that somebody out there has more information that could help them find justice in this case. Again, he was 22 years old. He was a senior at Penn State, set to graduate, and the situation did not need to happen. It, simply put, it just didn't need to happen. So this is what we're able to show you all. More information on some of the clothing that they're wearing. Maybe you guys recognize some of those symbols or the words that were on the sweatshirt. But again, this is from the Philadelphia Police Department. If you know more information, you are asked to contact their department as soon as possible. So that is someone asked if we had an update. That is the update on that particular story. Also, we've gotten word that his funeral arrangements have been made and they have been publicized. So you're seeing his GoFundMe there up on our screen. They're still raising money for him and for the family, I should say. But viewing funeral arrangements have been announced for William, known as Billy Schmidt. They say that the viewing is going to be held on Monday, and then there's going to be a funeral mass that takes place on Tuesday. And it looks like the funeral mass is going to happen at St. Monica Roman Catholic Church on 17th Street. It starts at 11 a.m. if anybody wants to pay their respects. But there's also going to be a viewing on South Broad Street at the Baldy Funeral Home. That's happening Monday. Again, this is South Broad Street in Philadelphia. That takes place from 6 to 9 p.m. If you know the family, if you want to pay your respects, again, they have publicized that. But fortunately, no arrests have been made just yet. But again, remember, you saw those videos. If you recognize those rules, if you recognize anything on their clothing, please contact the Philadelphia Police Department as soon as possible. I also, just real quick, the Department of Justice seems to be investigating the Philly Police Department, interestingly enough. So they say this is all over the issue of revoking people's license to carry, their permit to carry a firearm, and they say maybe it's not being done on a even basis. So while this is not necessarily a lawsuit, it's not saying that the Philadelphia Police Department has actually done anything wrong. It's an investigation just to see, well, how are they deciding whose permit they're going to revoke? Because a lot of people believe in the Second Amendment. This is very serious to them. I want to let you guys listen in. We had somebody, an attorney, who spoke a little bit to what this actually means. Let's listen in.
We see this letter come down from the Department of Justice saying they will be investigating the Philadelphia Police Department. Are you able to sort of break down for our viewers, what does that letter really mean? What's going to happen?
Sure. So what it means is that DOJ is taking an interest in the way that Philadelphia handles the revocation of licenses to carry. So in Pennsylvania, as you may or may not know, licenses to carry a firearm allow you to carry a firearm concealed anywhere in the state and openly in Philadelphia. They're issued by the authorities in each county, typically your county of residence. In Philadelphia, they're issued by the police department. In every other county in the state, they're issued by the county sheriffs. And the way it works is that if a sheriff or a police department in Philadelphia wants to revoke your permit, okay, they have to give you a reason. Pennsylvania law allows for the revocation of a permit for basically character reasons, right? They can say you're not the kind of person who ought to carry a permit. That standard is inadequate in many ways because it allows permits to be revoked for highly subjective reasons. And what's interested the DOJ is they would like to understand how subjective are the reasons for which permits are being revoked in Philadelphia.
Right, and in some of the verbiage in their letter, I believe they said that their investigation is about the vagueness
Correct.
of that specific section.
Correct.
What is I can't really ask you to predict it, but knowing what you do about this situation, this group of people, the rifles they were carrying,
Attention please, attention
an
please.
opinion as to whether
This is
or
a
not
boarding call for Amtrak Northeast Regional Train
So,
170.
without speaking directly to the gentleman who may or may not have been in an altercation with the police, what I will say broadly is this. Substitute for gun permit the words voting rights. And very quickly it comes into focus for most people. You cannot revoke a core constitutional right, and like it or not for many people, the Second Amendment is a core constitutional right. You cannot revoke a core constitutional right under an extremely vague, highly subjective, permissive standard. Imagine if we said, you know, I'm not so sure we like the cut of your jib. You got a little frisky with a police officer. You got a little yelly with that municipal authority. No more voting for you. That's how that right sits for a lot of Americans. Over 1 million Pennsylvanians have licenses to carry firearms. Imagine if we revoked the voting rights of 1 million Pennsylvanians because they got a little frisky with a police officer verbally. That wouldn't stand up.
And so if, let's just say, some of the people who had those permits revoked, some were able to appeal it, and I guess they went to Court of Common Pleas for that, I would think.
So there's an adjudicatory board first, and then ultimately you find yourself in common pleas. Yeah.
So is there a world in which other people go to have this appealed, and that appeal gets denied, and we elevate and elevate? Is there a world in which this can follow that trajectory?
Absolutely. So the way it works is if your permit is appealed, it used to be that you would kind of call the police commissioner almost personally and be like, hey, give my permit back. That's not really the way it works anymore. You go to an administrative hearing. Sometimes there's a negotiation there, and sometimes the permit is reinstated by a behavioral modification or taking a safety class, things like that. Other times, if the permit revocation is upheld, you go to the Court of Common Pleas, or you go to the Commonwealth Court, depending on kind of where you're coming from, and then ultimately you go to the Supreme Court. The other way this gets fixed is the DOJ says that procedure is insufficient for revoking permits that are grounded in a constitutional right under your state constitution and your federal constitution, and we will not brook that inadequate procedure, and we are going to require you with the full force of the Department of Justice to modify your procedure the same way we would if you came in and took people's voting rights away using an inadequate procedure. I believe that the Pennsylvania procedure is highly vulnerable to attack by the DOJ on this basis because of its incredibly subjective nature.
All right, so keep in mind that was an attorney speaking, but he was able to give us a better look inside why the DOJ is looking into the Philadelphia Police Department, what you would do or what options you may have if your permit was taken or revoked and you feel like it wasn't right. And also just a little bit more insight on why police might be moving the way that they're moving as well. So again, I just want to state that this is not a lawsuit. It's just an investigation. It's not a ruling. It's not proof that the city or the police department actually did anything wrong. Again, just an investigation by the DOJ at this point. All right, still ahead. I told you we got FIFA fever out here at Fox 29 Philadelphia. So when we return, it's not just the city of Philadelphia who's got a couple of matches coming up. It's also, we hear that New Jersey is going to have a big one at MetLife Stadium, also now known as New York, New Jersey Stadium. So we've got some big information that you are going to want to know. If you plan on getting out there, you are not going to be able to drive, and we're hearing you may not be able to walk there either. We'll touch base on what New Jersey Transit says you should do when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. You got a live look at some of the biggest stadiums where we're hearing World Cup is taking over. So right next to me, you're looking at Mexico City, but now known as Estadio Azteca. On Thursday, tomorrow, it's going to be the Mexico versus South Africa game. Again, that is taking place at Mexico City Stadium or Estadio Azteca. And then you're also taking a look at Los Angeles Stadium. That should be the one right below me. Team USA is going to face Paraguay. That is going to be Friday, June 12th. Again, that is Los Angeles Stadium. And then last but not least, you're taking a look at our very own Philadelphia Stadium, because on Sunday, the Ivory Coast is taking on Ecuador. It is going to be a movie out here. So I hope you're getting on to a game. But in addition to what we've got going on hyperlocally here in Philadelphia, MetLife Stadium, now known as New York, New Jersey Stadium, also has its own big thing happening. And New Jersey Transit wanted to clear the air on how you are going to get out there. I'm hearing that you cannot drive, like there's no parking, so don't take your car. But I'm also hearing you're not even going to be able to walk. So they laid out their plan on how you should get down there, and they also had a thing or two to say about Amtrak. Listen in.
We are about 72 hours plus a few hours more from kickoff of the first game between Morocco and Brazil. As the governor said yesterday, we are excited, prepared, and ready to get going on carrying out these games. We have an extraordinary obligation, both from a public security standpoint, which the Lieutenant Colonel will talk about, and from a transportation standpoint, which me and the Commissioner will talk about, to make sure that these games go off without a challenge. Let me talk to you a bit about preparation. We now have all the crews necessary for our bus and our train systems, both for FIFA and for commuters, for the game day on Saturday, are ready. That means all assignments are been filled, and we have the people ready to go from a staffing standpoint. In addition to that, we have hundreds of ambassadors who will be placed between Secaucus, Newark Penn Station, New York, MetLife, and throughout our system to make sure that they guide fans and commuters alike for those days. In addition, from a mechanical standpoint, all the trains we need for FIFA, as promised, have been conditioned and they're ready to go. From New York, we will basically be running a train every 5 minutes to make sure we meet our capacity demands. And leaving the train station, going back to New York, we'll be running a train every 7 minutes. In addition, we also have 535 buses now that we have finalized and ordered, mostly to make sure that if there is a contingency on Amtrak, which I'll talk about in a second, we are prepared and able to meet that demand to move people both from New York as well as from MetLife back to New York and other destinations. In addition, we have also ordered for egress 2 boats at Weehawken with a capacity of about 600 people a boat in case, again, there's a failure on the Amtrak corridor and we need to use our buses to drop them off at Weehawken, New York, and other places so we can safely move all the fans that are relying on our system. Let me talk about Amtrak for a second. It is no secret that the last couple of weeks has been pretty rough on the Amtrak system. We have made it abundantly clear to Amtrak that they are the single point of failure if something were to happen on the system. Because without Amtrak, we will not be able to execute a proper plan for FIFA. Of course, the buses we have is for contingency, but I cannot be any more clear on this. If we have any service disruptions, even if it is a 10-minute disruption or a 15-minute disruption like last night on the catenary power outage, that will result in an extraordinary delay in our ability to carry out our plan, especially since we are moving a train every 5 minutes. So there is no such thing as a 15-minute delay on Amtrak will mean a 15-minute delay on our FIFA service. It'll be 45 minutes, 60 minutes, or even longer. I just want to be crystal clear about that. Having said that, Amtrak has assured us that they have a plan in place, both from a resource standpoint as well as from a staffing standpoint, to make sure they're there to fix problems before, during, and after the game should the need arise. As all of you know, I also oversee the Turnpike. I know the Lieutenant Colonel is going to cover a bit about the public safety on the broader system, but I want to be crystal clear on the Turnpike. You're going to hear today that no unauthorized vehicles will be allowed in the Meadowlands complex. Period. End of sentence. There's 3 very good modes of transportation that are available from New Jersey Transit, from the host committee buses, as well as 4,700 parking spots that FIFA has purchased through American Dream. People should use those modes to get there and to leave. We will monitor and enforce very tightly on the Turnpike, on the Western Spur and on the Eastern Spur, with the help of the state police, should people think that they can use that as a staging area to drop people off and pick people up. Let me just finally end with ticket sales. As of this morning, we negotiated a deal with the host committee, American Dream, as well as MetLife, to carry roughly 4,300 of their employees to the game. So when you add the 8,500 tickets we've sold just for Saturday's game, we're closely around 12,500 to 13,000 tickets that are already been taken. I want people to know that just like the Super Bowl, where 22,000 tickets sold the day before and the day of, we anticipate that as things settle down, that there will be a move towards buying those tickets. If for whatever reason, all the tickets are not sold, then I know for a fact there's other modes that can carry, as we've talked about, but we are prepared no matter what. Now, I want to just close with this. My job and our job collectively is to be calm, collected, and disciplined in executing the plan. Should there be problems, as there invariably will be, our job is to react thoughtfully and to solve the problem that appears and not run around like chickens with our heads cut off. That is what my commitment to both our commuters is, as well as the fans who are going to show up. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Jain.
Thank you, Chris, and good afternoon, everyone. We're just a few days away from FIFA World Cup in New Jersey, our first match in New Jersey. And hundreds and millions of fans are going to be traveling around New Jersey, coming from outside the U.S. and within the U.S., and thousands will be watching the game at MetLife, at the MetLife Stadium, and really proud to be part of this moment. And as Chris mentioned, and as you'll hear from the Lieutenant Colonel, our transportation agencies, our public safety department, our local officials, our event organizers, we have all spent years planning for this event, and now it's game day. Another 72 hours, it's going to be game day. And the transportation plan is in place because of the result of a lot of hard work and coordinated hard work that has gone in over the last couple of years and last few years. And it has been widely communicated by NJ Transit. It is FIFA World Cup host committee, as well as our partner agencies. So I'd really like to encourage everyone to please review that plan. Make your plans for travel before match day. To the fans who are excited to be coming to this event, I want to be very, very clear about the journey coming to the stadium and leaving the stadium. Do not plan on driving to the stadium. Do not plan on walking to the stadium, in spite of any of the TikTok videos or other videos that you're seeing out over there. Do not get swayed by unauthorized shuttles and transportation services. There is no general parking available for attendees. There is no public drop-off and no public pickup. And should you choose to arrive by those unauthorized buses or by those vehicles, you should expect disruptions on your match day experience. So ultimately, the ball's in your court. And soccer, if you're calling it football, it's a team sport. And when fans, as well as the matchgoers, follow the plan, everybody is going to benefit and everybody's going to enjoy the experience. So we really want you to enjoy New Jersey. We want you to enjoy this once-in-a-lifetime experience and make amazing memories. And no matter what country you're rooting for, please help us in delivering this message. Use authorized modes of transportations. There are plenty of options available. Please buy your New Jersey transit tickets, buy your parking passes, use your host committee shuttles. Do not walk, drive, or use any unauthorized modes. We are ready to welcome the world, and we are really looking forward to having fun with all of you.
All right, so you heard the plan. How do you feel about it? A couple of people were chatting in our TikTok live stream chat amongst each other, answering questions for one another. But the biggest thing, someone said, so how am I supposed to attend the matches? And the biggest thing that they're saying, I hear, is that New Jersey Transit is the way to go. They mentioned what would happen if you tried to do ride shares. They mentioned what would happen if you tried to drive down there yourself. You're not finding parking. They mentioned what would happen if you tried to walk because you saw a TikTok video that said you could or should. Yeah, none of those are good ideas according to the New Jersey Transit folks. All right, so still ahead, it is now Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Big night for New York. The New York Knicks are taking on the San Antonio Spurs. That game has actually supposedly just gotten started. We're going to check in with our sports team, not just about that particular game, but about how the Phillies are doing, and more importantly, how the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. Over in New York City, the Knicks are getting ready to take on the San Antonio Spurs. Game was supposed to kick off at, tip off at 8:30, but I'm hearing that maybe they haven't done that just yet. So we're gonna keep our eyes on it. We'll see who comes out on top. But I wanted to bring in Breland Moore from our sports team. Breland, like, there is so much happening in the world of sports. I don't know how your head isn't spinning, but I mean, where do you want to start?
Yeah, this Knicks Spurs game they're currently, I'm looking at it right now, they're doing the national anthem at the moment. That's par for the course for the NBA. They always say that it starts at such and such time. And some leagues are really great about starting on time, and some leagues are not very great about starting on time. The NBA is one of those in the latter category. So this is not surprising. It's usually, if it's an 8:30 tip, you usually actually start at like 8:40. So nothing to be worried about there. But yeah, game 2 happening tonight. Of course, Knicks lead that series 2-1. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, a lot going on. I'll let you choose your own adventure. You want to go Eagles, Phils, or do you want to do World Cup? The world is your oyster.
we have been World Cup'd out at this point.
That's fair.
The audience is fatigued. So let's get into the Eagles.
Yeah.
I heard today they had that media press conference. This is the last time we're going to hear from them for a while, right?
Yes. So today was the mandatory mini camp. Remember last week, OTAs, those voluntary OTAs wrapped up. So today and yesterday were the 2 days that the players had to be in attendance. Now, Devontae Smith was not there. Don't panic about that. It was an excused absence that sometimes happens. The rumor on the street is that he is getting married this weekend, so that's probably a good reason to be absent. But yeah, mandatory minicamp, just a 2-day venture there, and we heard from the players from the last time until training camp. So they'll report here at the end of July, and that is when the full ramp-up period begins, and then you get obviously into preseason, and then there is the season. So once they're back here at the end of July, they are back for good. But now they have a nice little 6-week break, and they're able to, study the playbook. Nick Sirianni has said year after year his number one piece of advice or instruction to his players as they're leaving out the door is make sure you come back in the absolute best shape of your life. And so that's what their objective is over these next couple of weeks here, is to work on their own, get individually football ready, because there is a difference between being in shape and being football shape. And then hopefully they're able to hit the ground running a little bit here come end July for training camp.
Got you. Well, I'm hearing that there's somebody else that we weren't seeing at team drills, and Coach Sirianni actually addressed it very quickly, I may add.
Yeah, so there were a few players actually that did not participate. You have to be in attendance, and I'm sure you're alluding to Jalen Carter. He was in attendance. He was doing individual work. He just was not participating in team drills. Jalen had some injury issues last year. Remember, he missed some serious time with that shoulder issue, and so Nick Sirianni was asked, is this an injury issue or is this something different? And the way that he hedged the question I'm not going to tell you guys that information. I'm not obligated to tell you that. So he is a very interesting individual when it comes to that stuff. Anytime there's an injury issue or anytime there's honestly anytime there's anything going on, he's like, I'm not telling you that for competitive advantage. He can't use competitive advantage as an excuse at this point because there's no competition going on. So he kind of hedged on it, but it is a little curious. Jalen Carter is one of those guys that is in the mix to get ready to be paid some serious money here as his contract negotiation inches closer. And so there is some speculation and there is some question marks on whether or not we're going to see a holdout from Jalen Carter. I personally don't think we will, and even if we do, a lot of those times that's just playing chicken essentially in the middle of the road, and things get resolved. Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs holds out constantly, and Chris Jones is still a Kansas City Chief. So it's not something that you immediately need to worry about, but it is a little teeny question that is noteworthy going into this break and eventually into training camp.
Yeah, for sure. Something you put in the back of your head because it may pop up again later. We actually have the moment. You summed it up pretty well, but I want to let the people listen in as well. It's only about 20 seconds there because, like I said, he addressed it quickly and shut it down.
We don't have to. I don't have to get into. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get into all those different things. Right now, I've been able to work some individual scenarios. In individual practices, and that's where everybody's in a little bit different boat right now of where they are in the off season, and that's where Jalen is right now.
Talk about answering a question without really answering the question.
Right, and he tends to do that a lot, so it's not something to read into fully, but it is, like I said, just something to take a little bit of a note about heading into this break and into training camp. If it continues during training camp, then there might be something going on. It could just be nothing. It maybe something's a little bothering him. He also missed those voluntary portions of OTAs, so who knows what's going on. But he wasn't the only one. It just raised a little bit of a red flag because he did have some injury issues, and like I said, there is that contract negotiation that's looming. So it's just something to keep an eye on.
Got you. Well, we heard from a couple of different players, Jalen Hurts being one of them. Before we let the people listen to that, you mentioned that we may be able to talk about the Phillies too. How are they doing with their game against the Toronto Blue Jays?
I mean, everyone's homering tonight. If you get, I feel like Oprah. You get a home run. You get a home run. You get a home run.
Everybody gets a home run.
You get home runs from Bryce Harper. You get home runs then from Alec Boehm in the third, and then Kyle Schwarber homered as well. They are obviously up 6-0. Max Scherzer was starting for the Toronto Blue Jays. We talked about this in the Fantastic Sports Show. His ERA is garbage because he's 1,000 years old. So that's not surprising there, but it's certainly great to see, especially after they lost in walk-off fashion yesterday and Joan Duran had his save streak blown. It's nice that they can then rebound and then have tomorrow off before they start that weekend series with Milwaukee. So always good to see here.
Got you. And I mean, I was going to ask you what kind of team are the Blue Jays, but I'm looking at their record and it's not that far off from where we are. So I guess
they're all right. But, you know, some pitchers are better than others. So, and Max Scherzer, he's a Hall of Famer. He had an amazing career. Like I said, he's just.
Do you think it's about that time?
At a certain point, you're kind of living off of your past achievements and your past accomplishments here because he is not had a very great start to the season. So,
and maybe that's something the team's gonna have to look at.
He's just
soon.
old, yeah.
All right. So as I mentioned, we'll round things out. So 6 up. They got nothing. We're doing pretty well. We're checking in on the score a little later on. I did say that we would be listening to Jalen Hurts from the Eagles. Breland, I'm going to let you go. You guys listening to what he had to say. I'm seeing from a couple of different news outlets that he may have also addressed A.J. Brown and that relationship. Let's listen in.
How we doing?
Hey, Jim. Before the football questions start, I got to get out of here in a second, but I recently saw you were home celebrating your pop's retirement. I know you've mentioned it before, but just how influential has he been in your career and meaningful as he coached you throughout your youth?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for my father, he's meant everything to me, everything to my development. Just throughout this whole entire journey, being there. I think really the principles that he instilled into me, and not just myself, but the players that came before me, those are things that I carry along with me today. You know, the determination and resilience and, you know, work ethic and effort and, you know, doing something because you love to do it. And, you know, it's, I think I got a unique perspective to the game itself because I'm a coach's kid, and it's just a big blessing. It's a big blessing. I feel like it's really a gem. So I'm thankful for that, and it'll be different now that he's retired. So,
quick follow-up to that. You mentioned your coach's son. As you've navigated through the NFL, your relationship with your dad as it pertains to football, has it been still like coach's son, or has he kind of fallen back and he just pops as you guys talk about the game and stuff?
Yeah, I think for that with him, in his eyes, he said, you know, you go to college, you're no longer my responsibility when it comes to development, especially in the pros. And I think for him, in his perspective as a father, he was just, you know, happy and blessed to see me go to college for free. So appreciative of that.
Jalen, how do you think the spring's gone for you?
Thought it was a really good spring. Being able to onboard another new system and put everything together, lay the foundation. So, you know, I'm encouraged by that. I'm encouraged by the work that we were able to put in. We've got a fun summer ahead of us, and it'll be a fun training camp, being able to get back on the grass.
Do you feel a lot more comfortable in the system now than, I mean, obviously when you were first, you know, now that you had some reps and everything?
Yeah, the comfort comes with the repetition. The comfort comes with the teaching and the time on task to what you're doing. And so you just want to continue to build in those areas. I think it's been the same for me every year when it comes to coaching points, intention, vision. You know, what are we really trying to drive what we're doing and what we're doing? And so just really having a listening ear, asking questions, getting answers, going out there and repping it, feeling it, seeing different looks, seeing different coverages, knowing what to adjust to with the field. So obviously a different voice, different perspective of the game. And every OC has added their own flavor on it. I think, and even another component is quarterback coach too, because that's something that's changed along with the play callers. So just being able to adjust to all those things, figure it out as time goes.
We haven't talked to you since the AJ trade. He did an interview where he talked about your guys' relationship, not as close together, but said he wishes you nothing but the best and his love to you. What is your response to what he said publicly?
I'm not in a place to challenge anyone's perspective on anything. Seemingly so it was, and that's where I am. I've always been focused on the collective. I've always put my energy towards that, and as a leader, I've always put a onus on giving maximum effort to achieve the shared mission we have in the team. So,
is there any disappointment about the way his time here ended?
You come into it and you have a sense of pride in how it began, and definitely what we were able to accomplish. And the same thing that I said last time, nothing can take that away. So for the great things that we did, now it's time to focus on achieving great things with this new iteration of the team.
You mentioned the change in quarterbacks, Coach. We got to talk to Parks on Monday, I believe. Couple things. Why did you want to continue to work with Scott on your own time, and what's been the transition like?
Yeah, I just wanted to create some continuity there. Yeah.
What's been the transition with to Parks?
Parks has been great. Parks has been great. I'm excited to see what the summer brings and what training camp brings, so we can just continue to grow.
The if is no longer looming, in terms of the AJ trade. Now that there's been finality to it, how do you view the wide receiver core and what's going to be different?
We're working. I think everything starts with that. Whether it's a new core, new unit, or a new offense, it's about gelling, putting the time together, building that chemistry, coming together, and pushing forward.
What has been your early impressions? Kylan has been sidelined. What's been your early impressions about his approach or things that stood out?
Yeah, he's got a great mentality. He's got an edge about him. Got a quiet confidence. I can see that very clearly. So that's always exciting.
This past few months ago, there was an ESPN story that was written specifically about you. Want to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the things that were laid bare in that story. One of them, which is that you were the person behind the last play of the season. You actually asked for that play. Is that true? And what is your response to that?
Yeah, I've never really asked for an opportunity to respond to anything, so just let it live and go do my job.
And what about the last play? Was that something you directed or asked for, or?
No.
The idea that you have a heavy hand in the offense, or there's things that you're resistant to, is there accuracy to that?
Resistance to what?
Resistance to, as it was characterized, changes in the offense in the past, or evolution in the offense in the past.
I'm always open to growth. I'm always open to improving. I think a lot of it is, where do we put our time on task? Where are we? What are we exhausting? What are we repping? And so I'm looking forward to seeing how training camp goes, so we can just continue to build on the foundation that we've begun to lay now.
Do you feel this new offense that's being installed kind of like brings out different aspects of your game that maybe we hadn't seen as much in the past? And if so, what?
Well, I think generally speaking, because I feel a theme here, fluency is important. Fluency is important. So being able to build with one language and grow within that opportunity excites me. And so I think just being able to get the repetition, we talk about this on a year-to-year thing, but we're never talking about this on a multi-year occasion. So I think about that in perspective to my growth, and I know there's a lot of opportunity for me to go out there. I think just go out there and continue to improve my game. But when you are such a focused individual and you have to focus on all the different things that are changing, that's something that you have to manage. And so I've really just done that and accepted the pieces and the situations that have come, because it has truly been about winning. And everybody is dealt their own set of cards. Mine's just been dealing with change, and I've made the most of that. So whatever's to come, I just want to continue to grow, be the best that I can be in that role.
Historically, with franchise quarterbacks and their contracts, you'll see teams rework them, help them with space, et cetera. Are you okay with your contract? Is there any talk about something changing in the future here?
Yeah, for me, I'm truly focused on being the best that I can be right now. And that's where my energy is. There's a lot of change as is. I'm focused on this offense. I'm focused on building with Sean and being at my best.
You mentioned it being a new group of receivers, but you have Devontae and obviously all the years and the reps and experience with him. You have Dallas back as well, tight end. What does it mean to have those two constants, amid a time of change when you have other ones?
It carries over. I mean, I've played with Smitty since I was 17, 18 years old, so that's something to consider when you think of our chemistry and on the foundation of where we come from. So I think having his presence has always been very valuable. I've always appreciated that. And I think, as he leads and as I lead, it's just about putting those things together and continue to improve given all the change that we have in front of us.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, that is the last time we're going to see the Eagles for a couple weeks while they get ready for the next training camp for preseason. And then, of course, football season is so close, but still so far away. I want to do a score check, see how our boys are doing. So right now the Phillies are playing the Toronto Blue Jays, and it looks like we're doing pretty dang on good. So we're at the top of the sixth. We're up 6. Blue Jays got nothing. We're hoping that that's what continues. We'll see how the game pans out by the end of the night. Also want to take a look. I've been watching the Spurs-Knicks game. We're not streaming that for you guys, but it does look like the Knicks only have 2 points at this point in time. San Antonio Spurs have 12. So still quarter one. Got a long night to go. About 9 minutes left in this quarter. Again, not too bad, but 12-2, not what Knicks fans want to see at all. And then also we're keeping our eyes on the congressional baseball games. So our lawmakers are actually getting out to the diamond, the mound. You're seeing them play against each other. So obviously the people in the red, they're Republicans. People in the blue, ooh, did he catch that? Nice catch. Okay, red, obviously the Republicans, blue, the Democrats. And year after year, like literally for I think the last 5 games in a row, the Republicans have come out on top. Democrats are hoping to get their first win since 2019, I think. That's more than 5 years, but they said the last 5 games, so maybe they had to skip one. So we're keeping our eyes on what's happening out there. This is a game for charity. They're raising money, I hear, for the Boys and Girls Club out in Washington, D.C. They're also raising money for the Tim Johnson Memorial Scholarship and National Philanthropies. So a lot going on there. Again, you're seeing some of the most notable lawmakers from both sides of the political spectrum facing each other off. Sometimes they disagree out there on the House and Senate floor and whatnot, but here they're able to kind of let out their transgressions in a healthy, athletic way. And a lot of people watch. They've been doing this since 1909. Do we have any sound on this, by the way? Fox Sports is streaming it live for us. It's possible. Ooh, we can hear.
Padilla's 47th offering. We do have a runner on. 2-1 is the count. Pfluger at the dish. Garvey chasing that foul pop there. Tell you what, when you are out there, and it may not seem like it's not like summer Washington weather, but it is muggy out there, and when you're running around, no AC, I'm going to lose a couple pounds tonight.
There you go. Take a look at Garvey. I think he's dropped a couple of LBs tonight.
Absolutely. You need some electrolytes after the game tonight. Brad Finstead at the plate here.
Swing and a miss. Struck him out.
You know, Finstead, lots of family in his baseball. One son plays college baseball, and he's got a couple of sons. He's got 7 kids, 5 boys, 2 girls, and 2 of them are crushing it, he tells me, in their 12-year-old league. So serious baseball fans there in the Finstead family in Minnesota.
Credit to Padilla, by the way. Sometimes a little off-speed junk, especially if it's up high in the zone, it can be tough to get around on those. So give him credit. That was a very nice offering to pick up another strikeout. So 2 outs now here, top of the 6th. And Huizenga is at the dish with a man on.
All right, I'm going to top in here. So as you can see, they said that it was the 6th inning. Still got a couple more to go. Republicans are up 11. Democrats only have 2. So kind of seems like history is going to repeat itself. Republicans might be coming out on top again. We'll be trying to check in on how this game is going a little later on. Again, it's a friendly game of baseball, even though you are seeing the Republicans and Democrats face off against each other. We still got a lot of news to get you on out to. We're going to stick around in Washington, D.C., though, because a lot of this has to do with President Donald Trump. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I told you we're sticking out in Washington, D.C. for a couple of national headlines. These have to do with President Donald Trump. First, I want to get you out to the White House where the lights are sparkling. You are taking a live look out there. This is happening as we speak. Remember the UFC stadium, that stage that President Donald Trump had built on the South Lawn? Well, that's because this weekend, Sunday, June 14th, aka his birthday, also trying to celebrate America's 250th, President Donald Trump is thinking that he's going to welcome thousands of spectators in for a couple of different matches. It's supposed to be a really big night. He's also hoping there will be some performances. But I'm hearing that 2 Virginia residents actually tried to sue to stop this upcoming UFC fight. Again, it's supposed to take place on the South Lawn this Sunday. So literally the stage has already been set. So President Donald Trump, his administration, they've said it's way too late for this to be stopped. They've already spent millions of dollars on this. Thousands of people are expected to be in attendance. There are supposed to be about a dozen fighters in training, hoping to participate. So, that is very much so active. We'll see what happens, but this weekend they're still planning to host a lot of people. And Washington, D.C. is going to be the place to be. I hear starting tomorrow, that's when their FIFA stuff kicks off as well. So it's not just us here in Philadelphia. They're having Fan Fest in D.C. as well in the National Mall. Now, President Donald Trump spoke a little earlier today, and he actually signed a bill. This is about $70 billion worth, by the way, hoping that he'll get his immigration enforcement package pushed through. That is the plan with all of this money. He signed it into law today after the House narrowly passed that legislation. So it ensures that there will be funding available for immigration and customs enforcement, aka ICE, and Border Patrol throughout the rest of his presidency. He's really excited to sign it. I want to let you listen in as he explained what was in that document.
For more than 100 days, congressional Democrats tried to block all funding for the Department of Homeland Security in a reprehensible attempt to throw open the borders of the United States of America. They want to drag us straight back to chaos and crime. The crooked Joe Biden administration, one of the most corrupt administrations, probably the most corrupt ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And we're not going to let them do that. I have to say that Washington just had some crime numbers out, and it's the lowest number, best crime numbers we've had, they say, in 58 years. So we went from being a crime-ridden city, our capital, being a crime-ridden place, to being among the safest cities in the country. I'm so happy. And you're big beneficiaries because most of you live here. You hear all the time, the press, the media, and even actually some of the media, a couple of people that I would not suspect, a couple of people truly treat me unfairly, but they came up and they thanked me because it's so much, we have a safe city now. But the Secure America Act provides $38 billion to ICE, $26 billion to Border Patrol to ensure these critical law enforcement agencies have the necessary resources to do their jobs, protecting our borders and getting criminal aliens out of the country. And starting on day one of my administration, we took the most dangerous, unsafe, violent, and open border people out of this country. We got them out. I'll give you an example. In Washington, over 5, I don't even know if you know this, it's not just policing. You have criminals, you have career criminals. There's nothing you can do to make them nice. They're tough people, they're bad people. Some of them had records, 22, 23, one had 28 arrests, and rough arrests for murder. And we took out almost 5,000 people out of Washington, D.C. And if you remember, so 2% of the people create 91% of the crime. When you hear that number, it's great. I love that number because you can handle 2%. Right. If it's 91, create 91. That's no good. Too many people. But 2% of the people, and we took 5,000, almost 5,000 people out of Washington, D.C. They'll never come back. In addition, the national, so when they know they can't get through, they don't come. And a lot of lives are saved. Women were being raped on the journey up. They were being raped in numbers. 25, 30% were being raped coming up. You don't have that anymore because they don't come up in caravans anymore because they know they're not going to get through. So starting on day one, we took the most dangerous and unsafe, violent, open border in the world, and we created the most secure border anywhere in our country, probably one of the most in the world. I believe it was the most insecure and unsecure border anywhere in the world because there's no country, even a third world country, that has a situation like that where you'd have criminals just walk across totally unchecked. They had the Biden, it wasn't Biden, he didn't know what the hell was going on. It was people that are radical left lunatics who were very smart, very violent, very vicious, politically vicious. And they allowed this open border policy where millions of people came into our country, unchecked, unvetted, people from jails, people, drug dealers, people from mental institutions. Jails and mental institutions from all over the world were emptied out into our country. And we've got a lot of them out. We have a ways to go. It's very tough with the courts because every of these The judges have been very terrible. They've been terrible. Very sad. But we're fighting our way through it. We have made this in fact, we made it a country that, as you saw last month, they said we had the lowest murder rate that we've had in 125 years. Think of that. And that's despite the fact, because we got a lot out, but we do have more. We had 11,888 people come into our country who committed a murder. 50%, more than 50%, created more than one murder. Think of that. So you had people coming, I think seven murders. We allowed them into the country. We got most of them out. In the last 12 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted into the United States. We cut the flow of fentanyl across our border by almost 60%. Think of that. And by the way, coming in by sea, 97%. And we're looking for the 3% because we think they're among the bravest people. We cut them down, right? Yes. We cut it down. Show us that sign.
Wait,
oh, yeah.
you guys
They're the only ones. Yeah. See, Biden wouldn't do this.
No, he wouldn't.
He needed machines.
That's the real deal right there.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right, so again, that $70 billion is expected to fund ICE, Border Patrol, for the rest of President Donald Trump's presidency. Now, in addition to that, we all have heard the headlines, and if you haven't, here it is. President Donald Trump in the U.S., they've launched retaliatory strikes against Iran. This actually started yesterday after hearing that there was an American helicopter, an Apache helicopter, that had been shot down very close to the Strait of Hormuz. So yesterday they started the strikes. I'm hearing that today they have continued. There were some self-defense strikes launched today at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time against multiple targets in Iran at the Commander-in-Chief's direction. This is coming from U.S. Central Command. They actually put this on X if you'd like to go and read it. Their account is @CENTCOM. So they say the strikes are in response to Iran's unwarranted and continued aggression. Again, that happened at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, also during this particular press conference where President Donald Trump was signing that act into law, he also addressed the strikes. A couple of different reporters wanted to know a little bit more about what his plan with Iran was. He talked about it throughout the time, so you'll see that I spliced this together. It's edited, but go ahead and listen to what the president had to say.
If you have any questions, please, let's go.
Mr. President, on Iran, as you posted this morning about Iran, you said that they've taken too long to get to a deal. I want to make sure I quote you correctly. You said that now they will have to pay the price. Yeah. What did you mean by that specifically?
Well, we're going to be attacking them very hard.
Resuming bombing?
Yeah, well, we are. Based on the helicopter, I guess we have the right to do that. You know, they shot down a very incredible, actually an incredible machine. And at first they said they didn't do it, then they admitted they did. It's sort of easy because we have the bomb. We actually have the bomb. We got very lucky that bomb didn't explode. That bomb was lodged in the helicopter, it didn't explode. It was on fire, but it didn't explode. Those two guys, they knew how to fly, but they got very lucky. And then we had the unmanned boat going very, very fast at speeds that you wouldn't want to go. That's why it's unmanned, I guess, because nobody can go in that. But they rescued, so both people are, fortunately, the pilots are okay. Now, look, I've been working with Iran for a number of months, and they should sign their deal. It's a good deal. It doesn't give them the right to have a nuclear weapon. In fact, it totally prohibits them from ever having a nuclear weapon. And it was just tap, tap, tap. I don't know what they're doing. So they then shot at our helicopter. Very expensive helicopter, by the way, but much more importantly, the two men, fortunately, they're okay. But an amazing rescue. If you ever get a clip, you won't believe the rescue, how cool it was. The equipment we have. Look, we have the strongest military in the world. And I gave them a break at the request of Pakistan, the Field Marshal and the Prime Minister of Pakistan are great. We stopped them from going to war with India. You would have had a nuclear war if it wasn't for me. But they became friendly to me, very friendly, and they're close to Iran, and they worked, and they still are working on trying them to do what's right. But we want a deal that's meaningful. We want a deal that works. We don't want to just have a Barack Hussein Obama deal, JCPOA, the worst deal. That was a path to a nuclear. It's the exact opposite. You know, I like on television, they say, oh, they should have kept that deal. First of all, it was over. It was a short-term deal. But that deal was a path to a nuclear weapon. This is a path against a nuclear. You can't have a nuclear weapon. His was a path to a nuclear weapon. They were developing during his administration nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, there'd be no Israel, there'd be no Middle East, and they would have absolutely shot at us. So we'll see what happens. But we hit them hard yesterday, and we're going to hit them again hard today, in case you miss it, in case you don't turn on your television set. And we'll see what happens with the deal. We were really close to a deal, but they keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers because you know what? They dealt with some very stupid presidents. I have to say that. I'm embarrassed to say it. Some very stupid people were sitting.
Are you going to go back to attack, or are you thinking of attacking Iranian power plants and bridges as you?
Well, I'm not going to say that to you, but I can do that. Look, I could knock out. We have the most powerful. I built the military with these people approving it. They approved numbers that nobody would have ever thought we would have been. But we built it. We gave a lot to Ukraine through Biden. He gave a lot of money, a lot. But we're in great shape. We have a lot of storage capacity. But he gave a lot. And if you look at what's happened, when I left, our cupboards were full. He gave it. Now I sell it to the European Union, and they give it to Ukraine for the most part. But we have the strongest military anywhere in the world, and sometimes you'll have to use it. And we have to remember, and when people hear this, Iran very simply cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't. And they've agreed to that. All they have to do is they have to start signing a paper. It's fully negotiated. We have a fully negotiated, but they're tapping and tapping. And I said, all right, let's give them a couple of more days. They're tapping because it's a meaningful paper. They know when they sign that paper, it's meaningful. The Obama deal, JCPOA, one of the worst, one of the dumbest documents I've ever seen. Yeah. I will. I will.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be, we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers, which took a lot of courage. It was totally successful. We buried it, very hard to get. But now we had to make the second move. And I said, the bad part is the stock market will go down by a lot based on predictions of experts, like 25%. And it was worth it. To me, it was worth it, not to have a nuclear weapon. And the other thing is that oil would go to $250 a barrel. It's at 85, and which is pretty amazing. And here's the key. We just hit today another stock market high. 74 in my short time here, 74 days we hit stock market all-time historical highs. Nobody can believe it. The Dow, the S&P. S&P was at 7,000. They said in 4 years, maybe 5 years. It will never hit it during the term. It was too much. I hit it in my first year. I hit on the Dow, it was 50,000 was an impossible number. They said 5, 6 years out, you'd hit. Well, I hit it in my first year. And now I get everyone in the room and say, congratulations, but now I'm going to take it down a little bit because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And they all agreed with me, Todd, you remember. Everybody agreed. And we took a little journey down to Iran. We first stopped off at Venezuela, by the way, and we have paid for that war many, many times over. And we have great relationships with the people of Venezuela. We get along with them great. It was a great success. It was a one-day war. It was really, to be exact, 48 minutes of fury, and it was over. And Venezuela's doing great. Relationships with the people are great. It's become a happy country, believe it or not. I mean, it's become a happy country. And we're taking out millions of barrels of oil from Venezuela. And then we went to Iran. And essentially, we've done the same thing. It doesn't look as pretty, but there's no Navy. 159 ships at the bottom of the sea. There's no Air Force. All of their planes are blown up. Most of their drones are gone. Most of their drone-making ability is gone. Most of their missiles are gone. All of their leadership is gone, so they replaced it. All of that leadership is gone, so they replaced it. And that's the people we're dealing with now. And I think they're going to want to make a deal, but we're going to find out.
Inflation to come down between now
Oh, when the war is over?
Yes.
It's coming down.
I know you can't.
It's going to come down like a rock. And again, we're taking out millions, which I'm just announcing today for the first time. But we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Millions of barrels. Every night we took out oil. But now I'm going to tell you because they just figured it out. So now that they figured it out, I can tell you. It was very hard for me. I wanted to say it so badly, but I didn't want to ruin it. But it was very hard. But millions of barrels of oil has come out. And that's why it's at $85, $90 a barrel instead of $250. But we have the greatest military in the world, the toughest military in the world, just the best in every way. Nobody even close. There's no military that's even close. I rebuilt it during my first term. I'm using it now. When this conflict is over, Todd said, please call it a conflict, right? As opposed to the word war. He didn't like the word war, but it's sort of a conflict. It's a military operation. When it's over, you will see oil drop to where it was before. We were getting gasoline. Just before it started, I was in Iowa, and we passed gas stations, $1.85 a gallon. And we'll be back at those levels very soon. Thank you very much, everybody.
I know I'm not the only one who's hoping that we get back there sooner than later. But of course, as I mentioned right before he began talking, we did learn that earlier today at about 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he did launch some new retaliatory strikes against Iran. So we'll keep you up to date on everything that's happening, what it means for the ceasefire deal. Is it all crumpled, or are they going to come back to terms with things a little later on? You know, time will tell. But I want to bring things closer back to home for you guys. So if you are from Philadelphia, if you're streaming from Delaware and New Jersey, I want to get you into your forecast. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll meet up with Scott Williams to see how things are going. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray, keeping you updated on all things Philly, all things New Jersey, all things Delaware. I want to get you right into your forecast. Scott's joining us, our meteorologist. Scott, it was pretty warm today, but most importantly, it was humid as I don't know what. Is that going to stick around with us?
Oh, absolutely, Judea. We are talking about feels like temperatures Thursday and Friday getting into the triple digits. So it really is going to be that cumulative effect. The air you can wear over the next several days. Today was 88 degrees. We're looking at mid to upper 90s for high temperatures Thursday into Friday. Scattered shower and thunderstorm chances again both tomorrow afternoon and evening, and then as we get toward Friday afternoon and evening as well. We had a few thunderstorms moving through the area. Nothing was severe, but we had some rumbles of thunder. About 1/4 of an inch to about 1/2 inch of rain fell in most locations that picked up some of those downpours. Most of the moisture is now exiting some of the shore points, but we still have a few leftover showers right now down the shore. You can see around places like Atlantic City to Ocean City. Avalon still getting wet right now with some of those scattered showers and downpours out there, but most of us are starting to dry out. What this moisture is going to do is just kind of leave all of that humidity in place for tomorrow as well as for Friday. So some of that will help to kind of fuel some of those scattered showers and storms both tomorrow afternoon and again as we get toward your Friday. But you can see Cape May, Wildwood looking at some of those leftover downpours also as we get toward places like Lewis, Delaware, Rehoboth Beach, Bethany Beach still getting wet right now as that system kind of pulls on out to sea. Most of us starting to dry out though as we talk a little bit about what's going to be happening for the overnight. Low temperatures, upper 60s to low 70s. Certainly the warm air will continue overnight tonight, and then that surge of heat and humidity over the next couple of days out ahead of a cold front that will progress toward the area Friday afternoon and evening. Behind that, lower humidity for the weekend, but still hot with high temperatures likely topping out around 90 degrees both Saturday and into Sunday. Now, in terms of that severe weather threat, you can see on a scale of 1 to 5, it's a 2. Of course, looking at that slight risk for scattered severe storms both Thursday and into your Friday across the area. Now, in terms of the coverage, pop-up showers and thunderstorms for tomorrow afternoon and into the evening time frame. Not everyone's going to see it, but once again, some of those could be a little strong to severe. The main threat would be some damaging wind gust as well as some hail. So it's mainly tomorrow afternoon and into the evening time frame when storms will be bubbling up on Thursday, and then that scenario will play out again for your Friday. So we're chasing records over the next couple of days. I mean, the average high this time of year should still be around 80 degrees. So we are well above where we should be for this time of year, chasing those records both Friday and Saturday. Well, Thursday into Friday, I should say, but we're still going to keep it hot for the weekends. Here's a look at the record for Thursday, 95 degrees, forecast 95. The record for Friday, 95, the forecast 97 degrees. And these are the temperatures in the shade. So when you really factor in that humidity, that's the heat danger. That's why heat emergencies have been issued and warnings across the area. We're talking about those feels like temperatures getting into the triple digits. That's not only Philadelphia, but north and west, and moving toward Berks County into the Lehigh Valley, interior parts of South Jersey as well. So once again, stay in the air conditioning if at all possible. Wear loose-fitting, light-colored clothing. Check on pets, elderly, children. Make sure everyone is staying hydrated and staying safe out there as we deal with our third heat wave. So we have the heat, we have humidity, we have gusty storms. We're chasing records. So yeah, FIFA is going to be at the center stage, but also the weather over the next several days. Lots of folks are in town, and we're dealing with the heat, the humidity, and also some storms. Now, in terms of the forecast at the Philadelphia Stadium on Sunday, those temperatures still hot. Numbers for kickoff will be right around 90 degrees still, and then falling into the mid 80s throughout the game. But Judea, there's still about a 30% chance that we could see a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm Sunday afternoon, even into the evening time frame. So we're still kind of monitoring that forecast, fine-tuning things, but we do know it still is going to be hot for the upcoming weekend, and Once again, we will be watching maybe for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm in Philadelphia on Sunday.
Yeah, that is kind of scary to think about. Scary in the sense that if you were planning to get out of the game and maybe you're out and about and it does start to rain, I'm not sure if you're allowed to bring an umbrella, so maybe pack a rain poncho?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, no umbrellas, obviously, but yeah, we could see a pop-up shower or storm in the vicinity even on Sunday. Now, the greater risk is going to be Thursday and Friday for some of those storms to turn severe. But we still have a disturbance that looks like it wants to come down from the Great Lakes sometime Sunday afternoon into the evening. So we have to keep that rainfall chance in the forecast on Sunday, at least for now.
Okay. One last question for you again as people are getting ready. You know, FanFest, I think, starts tomorrow. A lot of people were excited to get out there. Does it still sound like it can be a plan? You just got to plan around it?
You just have to be safe. Yeah, absolutely. Listen to your body, you know, stay hydrated, light colored clothing, take breaks, take advantage of maybe some of the cool activities that they're going to have. I'm sure they're probably going to have some type of misting fans or passing out some water or something. But yeah, you've got to stay hydrated. Listen to your body, because when we talk about these feels like temperatures getting into the triple digits, heat stroke, heat exhaustion can be a real thing. So heat exhaustion, when you really start sweating profusely, you have a rapid pulse, and then heat stroke, that is when you just kind of stop sweating altogether.
Which didn't even know that could happen, but new fear unlocked. Thank you so much, Scott, for giving us a look at our forecast. We'll see you again at 10, right?
Okay. Yep.
All right. See you then. Now, as Scott was alluding to, there is a serious issue that we're seeing here in Pennsylvania. The health department has actually declared a heat health emergency. That is going to begin tomorrow, 11 a.m., and it'll be in effect until Friday at 8 p.m., so after the sun goes down. That means for those of you who are trying to get out and about and have a good time, as Scott was telling you, there are things that you are going to want to keep your eyes on, like having that sunblock, making sure you've got plenty of water. If you start getting dizzy or short of breath or anything like that, make sure that you go inside, try to sit under some AC. And if that can't be done, if you realize you're starting to feel worse, or maybe you see a family member feeling worse and doing worse, 911 may be an option to call. So I do want to let you know, in the city and across Pennsylvania, there are going to be cooling centers. They're also going to be doing enhanced daytime outreach for anyone who may be experiencing homelessness. So, of course, you see them out there on the streets. They're going to be checking in to make sure they're doing all right out there in the heat, or if they can bring them into a cooling center. And, of course, they're also, the city is urging people to check in on your friends, family, neighbors, especially if you've got older neighbors. Just check in to make sure everybody's doing all right. Let's all do the friendly neighborly thing. But in addition to that heat health emergency, we also know that 52 schools right here in the city of Philadelphia have decided to close early tomorrow, which actually is not a bad deal for the kids. That's the early summer vacation, if I'm understanding everything correctly. But they are going to be dismissing early tomorrow due to the ongoing high temperatures. You know, a lot of the schools don't have AC. You're taking a look there at the list on your screen. Let's see if we can read some of these schools for you. It looks like Building 21, Joseph Catherine, Watson Comley is also on the list. We also got James Ludlow, Martha Washington, the U School. The list goes on and on. We got that list available for you right there on the fox29.com website. It's one of our top stories, so if you either head to the website or the free Fox Local app, you'll be able to check this list and see if your school is on it. In addition to schools shutting down early, there will be no in-person after-school activities. Early childhood programs in these schools on the list will also follow the early dismissal plan. So make arrangements now if you have kids and they've got to find a way to be with a supervised adult, a person that's trusted when school lets out. So think about that now. Well, we want you guys to stay safe. We want you guys to stay cool. We want you guys to stay healthy. So we'll be talking to you all tonight and tomorrow and probably the day after that and after that and after that, how you can stay safe, especially if you want to get out there for the FIFA World Cup games, because we are all FIFA'd out here at Fox 29. still ahead. I'm seeing that the congressional baseball game's still going on. We'll do a score check with you from the Phillies game, from the Spurs, Knicks game. Also got some more big news to head out to, so don't go anywhere. This is Philadelphia Live. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Let's do a score check. You know, the Phillies are playing, Knicks are playing against the Spurs. It's game 4, NBA Finals. A lot of people are keeping their eyes on that. Let's start with the Spurs, though. So it looks like they are up 59 to a measly 34. New York Knicks, what are we doing? Now, granted, it's still early on in the game. It's got 7 minutes left in the quarter, 7:30 left in the quarter. It's only the second quarter. We haven't even had halftime yet, but like, come on now. We're kind of sad. Again, this is game 4 happening right now as we speak at Madison Square Garden. Oh, I know there are a lot of New York fans not happy right now, but hopefully we can turn it around after halftime. Like maybe they just need to go back into the locker room, have a quick little powwow, a little chat, and get back out there and show the people what they want to see, a win. I don't know. But that's what, maybe Philly fans, the Sixers fans, maybe y'all are happy about this. I don't know. I feel like that neighborly, we should be feeling good about one another. But let's check in on the Phillies now. So they are playing against the Toronto Blue Jays at the bottom of the 7th, and they are doing a whole lot better than the Knicks. All right, so it looks like we are up 7. The Blue Jays did finally score. They got 1 on the board, but that's about it. So 7 runs, not bad at all. Let's see how the game there ends. This is an away game, by the way, so we are not out at Citizens Bank Park. This is happening in Toronto. Also, there was that congressional baseball game. I'm hearing that it just ended, but it looks like the Republicans once again have come out on top. So you're seeing both sides. In blue, you've got the Democrats. In red, you've got the Republicans. You've got a lot of people, a lot of fans who are excited to see the game heading on out. This was a charity game. Their money's going to go towards the Boys and Girls Club out there in Washington, D.C., and a couple of other charities of choice. They've been doing this game since 1909, and it's just a way for them to kind of let out those transgressions that they have on the House and Senate floor. They come onto the diamond, and it's like none of that exists anymore. They're just playing for the love of the game and raising a lot of money while they do it. So again, it looks like the Republicans won again. The Democrats haven't won this game since 2019 from my research. So maybe next time, boys, maybe next time. A lot of big things happening around town. We also have a live look at Washington, D.C. on the White House. As you can see, all lit up. That's because this weekend on Sunday, President Donald Trump is expecting to host Freedom 250. This is going to be that huge UFC match happening on the South Lawn. It also happens to be his 80th birthday, but he says we're celebrating America's 250th. There's supposed to be thousands of people in town for it. He's got dozens of fighters ready to go. Meanwhile, 2 Virginia residents actually filed a lawsuit hoping to stop the progress on this event and make sure that it wouldn't be able to happen this Sunday. Now, President Donald Trump, his administration, they're arguing that it is way too late to try to shut something of this magnitude, this size, down. Like, the stage is quite literally already set. So we'll see what happens. But from the looks of it, the lights were like doing super speed earlier on. It looks like they are not slowing down anytime soon. So maybe that will still go on this Sunday. And in addition to that, Washington, D.C. is also having their FIFA Fan Fest. Here in Philadelphia, we're having ours at Lemon Hill. Remember, it's going to be really, really hot. We're experiencing like dangerously high temperatures that'll feel like triple-digit temperatures. So make sure you've got a lot of water. Make sure you pack your sunscreen. Make sure that you're doing everything that you can, eating everything to make sure that you will be all right and you will be safe. Now, have you heard about the screw worm? I posted about it on social media, but if you haven't seen the post, long story short, the name is kind of confusing because you would think then it is a worm. It starts as larva, but it's actually a fly. And what they're saying is it's a flesh-eating parasite. Doesn't necessarily harm humans per se, but when it interacts with an animal, live animal, and that has an open wound, it can burrow itself down inside the wound and then begin to eat its flesh. And it can ruin livestock. So you can imagine there are a lot of U.S. farmers who are very worried, very upset. This is something that we thought we eradicated like decades ago. So the fact that it's back is really concerning. But the USDA says that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we knock it out again. Part of the plan I'm hearing from Brooke Rollins is to send a bunch of, they're going to be male screw worms that are going to mate with the females, but the only thing is they are sterile. Yes, they're sterile. So they're hoping to eradicate the females who can only mate once, they'll die off, and then obviously they won't be able to have babies and have more screw worms. That's the plan. But how we're going to do that and how we're going to do it at this magnitude that we're seeing is going to be interesting. I can tell you it all started out with one calf, I believe in Texas. Now we're hearing that there is a dog case confirmed in New Mexico. Texas also has 3 more detections in a goat and 2 other calves. So far the United States has 6 detections of the parasitic fly, all within the past week. Now, Brooke Rollins spoke at a hearing earlier today. They asked her a couple of different questions about the screw worm. I want to let you listen in how she answered them.
And this year is no different. And I'm going to talk, sir, about the New World Screwworm just at the outset, and then I'm sure we'll dive into it more. We continue to prioritize defeating the New World Screwworm. Over the past week and a half, USDA has confirmed 6 cases of the New World Screwworm within the U.S., all but one in the south of Texas. I was just in Texas 2 days ago to inspect a USDA research facility that we just opened 2 weeks ago, developing new technologies to combat this pest, and we'll be back tomorrow on site in South Texas in La Pryor to visit that ranch and talk more about what we're doing. The Biden administration's open border policies, combined with the Mexican cartel's refusal to crack down on that through South and Central America, allowed the screwworm to move north for the first time in 50 years, beginning in 2022 when the Darien Gap was breached, into 2023 when the screwworm began moving at rapid pace up through Central America and hitting Mexico in 2024 under the last administration. We know this development is a serious threat, but it did not catch us off guard. We've established the 20-kilometer movement zone, expedited targeted release of sterile flies in the affected area. We've increased the trapping for flies along the border and ramping up surveillance. But more importantly, I think for this committee is very quickly, Senator Bozeman, I want to talk about over the last year what we deployed. Over $1 billion, $1.3 billion since we walked into the door last January 2025 has been invested and deployed to battle just the New World Screwworm. We have been forward-leaning. EPA just approved some new fly technologies we've announced just the last few days, which will significantly increase our ability to battle this through sterile flies. We also broke ground on our Moore air-based sterile fly facility in Texas about 6 months ago. That's a $750 million project. And that also opening up a dispersal facility earlier this year for the first time, and outfitting a facility in Matapa, Mexico that will open this month that will increase our sterile fly production by 100 million flies. That all happened because of what we implemented over a year ago in preparation for this moment. And since January 2025, and this is a really, really important point for those who are saying that we were caught unprepared. When we walked in the door in January 2025, the last USDA had an equivalent of 10 full-time employees working on the New World Screwworm. So about 17 months ago. A week ago, before it was even confirmed, we had over 110 full-time staff that we had staffed up over the last 15 months in preparation. Almost a 1,000% increase in over a year in preparation. In short, we're using every single tool at our disposal, working very closely with our governor, Governor Greg Abbott, and all of the teams on the ground in Texas, in New Mexico, and across this country. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here, Senator and Ranking Member Klobuchar. As we celebrate our 250 years of freedom, I know we will continue to fight together for the men and women who feed and clothe and fuel this great country and the world. I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Let's kind of probably finish on this screwworm. First of all, I think it's important Americans realize there's no threat
to the food supply.
To the food supply.
Correct.
And trying to explain this to people is a little tough, but you and I grew up on ranches, and first of all, no rancher would take an animal with this big, ugly, fleshy wound to the locker plant, first of all.
Correct.
Second of all, even if a human ate, let's say it's a deer. Let's say you shot a deer and you're eating this and it happened to have this screwworm in it, that our own digestive system would destroy that. I think that's important to point out. I think it's important to point out that we saw this coming under the previous administration and they refused to respond. When you let millions of people migrate through Central America this way, we saw the screwworm just come with them, whether it was on their pets or maybe they were bringing livestock. And unfortunately, visiting the border before, I saw so many of these people with open flesh wounds themselves that could have been one way to get it across the border. We saw it happening. And we were down to just basically a male mosquito screwworm fly being sterilized in Panama. But the next step, so we sat on it. We prayed about it. We tried to monitor it. But you also invested money in the laboratory in Mexico as soon as, like within days after you took office, we talked about this. So take us through that process of what we've done in Mexico. Again, you had a time to touch on it. So the second you get into office, you're on this. So just run us through that again.
Yeah, Senator, thank you. We saw it coming. The fact that it had been out of America since 1966. Had been out of Central America and down past the Darien Gap for more than 30, 40 years. I think that that as it began to make its way north, starting in 2021, 2022, it gets into Central America. 2023 gets into South Mexico, and of course, 2024 begins to make its way through Mexico. Again, you need about 500 million sterile flies to eradicate. Once it was pushed past the Darien Gap back in the 60s and 70s, people just we stopped making the sterile flies. We got down to the 100 million in Panama. Within a matter of days, we got approval from the president I was sort of shocked that the last USDA really had no plans, hadn't really done anything. Said, we've got to build our own facility in America that will produce between 300 and 400 million flies per week so that we never let this happen again. Understanding that as a radiated facility, it normally takes a couple of years for permitting. Pete Hegseth, God bless him, and our Army Corps of Engineers engineers permitted that facility in just 60 days, I believe, and then we broke ground, contracted within another month or so. So we have shaved years off of that timeline. But in the meantime, the Matapa facility was a fruit fly facility in Mexico that Mexico agreed to let us pay for, let us outfit. We started that last summer, and it is ready this month. That will be another 100 million flies that are coming online. So there's a lot of movement and a lot of money that has been invested to prepare for this moment.
Great. Thank you, Chairman. And I'd love to come back and talk about the life cycle of the screwworm. The poor females only get to mate one time, and then they die.
This is true.
And that's
the
why
males, it's unlimited. That's
and
right.
that's why these sterile males are so important and why it works. So the science is there. We don't need to study it. We've got cures. We got this.
That's right. Thank you, sir. And the food supply is 100% safe. This is not a disease. It's not a virus. It's a fly. So that's right.
Okay. They seem confident. How do you guys feel? The one thing that I keep hearing them say is it's not going to threaten this food supply. I know a lot of people were a little anxious because July 4th is coming up. You probably have a cookout, a barbecue planned, and maybe you're thinking that the price of beef would go up. Now, the price of beef is going up, but not necessarily because of this. It may just also be inflation, economic issues that we've been seeing it bleed over into other areas. So something to keep in mind. But again, how do you guys feel? Do you buy the let's calm down, it's not a big of a deal as you may think it may be? Let me know in the comment section. This is a live interactive news chat. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking about even more trending stories. I wanna know what's Philly talking about. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Janae Murray. Had to bring Jake up to the desk.
Thank you, thank you.
Of course, Jake, our question of the night, we've been asking people, what would you do with $250? And I think the people have been answering.
Let me ask the audience. So we literally did. We ran a poll, fox29.com/GoVote, always under the Fox Local tab, asking, what would you do with $250 from the government? Save it, 38%. Spend it, 49%. So we are in the majority. And then other, leave a comment, 13%. And all those people are really responsible. They're saying they would spend it, but on a bill. So maybe on Pico, maybe on something else like groceries or gas. So they're very practical. We are not.
We said take your friends out and go buy some clothes.
Right.
That's very real. The reason I ask is, of course, there is a congressman from Pennsylvania who has proposed $250 checks for every Pennsylvania family. He wants this to happen to celebrate America's 250th birthday, so right in time for 4th of July. And of course, other people would have to agree with him. This is just a proposal, but I was wondering, I mean, that sounds kind of sweet, so what would you do with it? Yeah. Okay, so in addition to that, there are a lot of trending stories out there. What are the people talking about? What are they interested in right now?
Well, you know what you could also spend the $250 on?
What?
Going to see some movies.
Like what? Which ones?
Okay, so there's a lot of big summer blockbusters coming out. I think we just had Disclosure Day come out by Steven Spielberg, so that's a really big one.
Drew Anderson got to talk to them, right?
Yeah, no, he talked to another one, I think.
Okay. Whoops.
I
My bad.
forget what that one was called, but that was about D-Day.
D-Day.
Yes. So that was both of those were big ones. I just saw today the trailer dropped for The Social Reckoning, which is the sequel to The Social Network, which is like the movie about Facebook starting and all that. So that's really cool. It's starring Mikey Madison, she was the one who was in Nora. So she's kind of like an up-and-coming actress, but she's been super selective about her roles. So the fact that she's doing this kind of is showing me it's going to be good. And
It'll be worth it.
yeah, The Social Network originally came out in, I want to say it was 2010. So like 16 years for the sequel. So I feel like they had a story to tell and it's going to be good.
Yeah,
So
they had quite some time to get that writing together.
that's one of them. Another big one is The Odyssey.
Ooh.
Yes. So the classic story, Homer, and there's this new trend releasing the popcorn buckets.
Yeah.
This is the Odysseys. So it is actually the Trojan horse, that story, they hid in it and whatnot. So this is it. And I don't know, I've never kind of wanted to get a popcorn button, a popcorn basket before. I low-key feel like I might have to get this. I just feel like it's so cool and unique, and
I need to see. So I'm greedy. I love popcorn. I need to see what this looks like with a person, like life size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then that'll let me decide if I actually. Well, as a collectible, yes, you should get it.
It's pretty cool.
But I just need to know how much popcorn is this going to hold, or should I just get my regular bucket?
Yeah. But the Odyssey.
That is really cool.
Yeah. Isn't it really cool? It's already making history. It's a big deal. Christopher Nolan. It has a stacked cast. Zendaya, Tom Holland, Matt Damon.
That's all you had to say to me.
It's I think Anne Hathaway might have a role in it.
Dang.
Robert Pattinson. It's
everyone.
Stacked. Yes. Theaters are renaming. I think there's one in LA renaming it to become the Christopher Nolan Theater to celebrate this movie coming out. It's huge.
Kind of sick.
I saw there's a beach in California that has a gigantic Trojan horse for promotion. It's going all out, and there was a whole big thing.
I wonder if there's anything in it. I'm
sorry. The tickets went on sale, and they sold out all around the world. It was almost like you were getting tickets to a concert. You had to wait in line. You had to queue to get movie tickets, which I feel like in this day and age it's almost unheard of. So I don't know. I'm feeling like we might have another Barbenheimer moment. I don't know if there's another movie that could be paired up with the Odyssey in the way.
July 17th.
Yeah, the day after my birthday. Yeah. So maybe I'll go see it.
Are you a Leo?
I'm a Cancer.
Yeah. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk. I'm a Taurus.
So.
Okay. Well, thank you for bringing us all the stuff. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to make some movie plans.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a traditional movie theater in quite some time.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because that was one of the things I brought up in our meeting the other day. There was a study that says AMC theaters this past month had the highest amount of visitors in a couple years. And a lot of people are saying Gen Z is bringing people back to the theater, so something to consider.
Love to see it. I did go see Barbie. I may have to go see this one. Well, Jake, thank you so much for bringing us our
thank you
trending
for having me.
news. Of course, you guys have been watching Philadelphia Live. This is Jake. I'm Judea. Don't go anywhere because the news at 10 continues. A lot more broadcast headlines heading your way.